Chapter 1794. What? This kid can actually summon ghosts? No, we must stop him from summoning ghosts. Otherwise, we'll all be exhausted to death. Quick, break that gate of summoning so that he can't summon ghosts to fight. Seeing the gate of summoning appear, not only was Xing Qinghan panicking, but the others were also panicking. Soon, a few people flew towards the gate of summoning, ready to destroy it. It's not that easy to break the gate of summoning. Seeing their actions, Mo Qingyun's lips curled up slightly, and a mocking look flashed in his eyes. The martial soul superpowers derived from the Gate of Fortune were different from ordinary martial soul superpowers. Its attacks were indestructible. In other words, once the Gate of Fortune's martial soul ability was used, it would not miss. When a few people approached the Gate of Summoning, the ghosts that came out of the Gate of Summoning immediately rushed towards them. Soon, their footsteps were blocked, and they began to fight with the ghosts. What made them feel bitter was that they were too close to the Gate of Summoning. The ghosts that came out of the Gate of Summoning charged towards them. In a short while, the number of ghosts surrounding them had increased to more than 10. Facing the siege of more than 10 ghosts, the few people situation immediately became worrisome. Each of them was surrounded by danger. Seeing that more and more ghosts were surrounding them, the few people's faces became paler and paler, and their eyes flashed with despair. Quick, quick, come and save us. Realizing that they were in a bad situation, the few people's faces were filled with fear and horror, and they immediately begged the people around them for help. Unfortunately, the people around them couldn't even take care of themselves, so they didn't have the time to care about their lives. Seeing the reactions of the people around them, the few people's faces were filled with anger, feeling that they were abandoned just like that. Very quickly, these people were besieged by the ghosts and died with indignation and anger. Ignoring the fight of the ghosts, Mo Qingyun glanced at Xing Li and the others and said coldly, "Since you're having such a hard time resisting, I'll be merciful and let you all go free." As soon as Mo Qingyun finished speaking, he used the Gate of Combination to suppress Xing Li and the others' bloodline, soul, and blood. Gate of Combination. A gate of light with 3 grooves formed above Xing Li and the others, emitting 3 different mystical powers. The moment these 3 mystical powers appeared, they enveloped everyone around them, suppressing their blood, soul, and bloodline. Faced with the suppression of the 3 mysterious forces, the surrounding people all panicked, and their faces all turned pale. My bloodline is being suppressed. I can only use 50% of my usual power. My cultivation level is dropping? How? How can this be? What kind of power is this? Sensing the condition of their bodies, everyone panicked and uttered words of fear. Kid, who are you? How do you know such a powerful power? Seeing Mo Qingyun use the Gate of Combination, Xing Qinghan was shocked. He stared at Mo Qingyun with his eyes wide open. He originally thought that he had overestimated Mo Qingyun, but he still underestimated Mo Qingyun. Mo Qingyun didn't answer Xing Qinghan's question. Instead, he smiled meaningfully and said, "Don't worry, I have an even more powerful power. Wait for me to show it to you." As soon as Mo Qingyun finished speaking, he activated the Gate of Combination and fused with the ghosts around him. Soon, Mo Qingyun formed a close connection with the ghosts around him. Mo Qingyun found that even if he didn't fuse with the ghosts, he could still use the ghost's power. I can freely use the ghost's power in the Gate of Combination for my own use even if I don't fuse with them. The Gate of Combination is indeed powerful. Seeing the power change of the Gate of Combination, Mo Qingyun was overjoyed and excited. As Mo Qingyun rejoiced, the aura emanating from his body started to rise rapidly. Firefly stage, strong soul stage, soul tempering stage. After a while, Mo Qingyun's aura reached the peak of the Dao Cheng stage. Because the strongest among the ghosts was only at the Dao Cheng stage, the Dao Cheng stage was Mo Qingyun's limit. Dao Cheng stage. This kid's cultivation has reached the Dao Cheng stage. Sensing the change in Mo Qingyun's aura, Xing Qinghan was terrified. His eyelids kept twitching. Where did this kid come from? Is he really just a genius of the heavenly soul demon clan? How can he master so many terrifying powers? At this moment, Xing Qinghan was puzzled. He doubted Mo Qingyun's identity. He did not believe that a junior genius of the heavenly soul demon clan could master so many powerful powers. Mo Qingyun was not in the mood to care about Xing Qinghan's thoughts. He just wanted to end the battle as soon as possible. Break it! Mo Qingyun shouted angrily. He quickly made a hand gesture and controlled the sword formation to continue attacking Xing Li and the others. Because Mo Qingyun's power had increased, the power of the sword formation that he controlled was obviously much stronger than before. In comparison, Xing Li and the others' powers were sealed. The power that they could display was greatly reduced. Subsequently, the power of the blue light screen that they had conjured had also weakened significantly. Boom! After being attacked by the sword formation again, the green light screen was instantly destroyed. The 8 ancient swords destroyed the green light screen. Their attacks did not decrease and continued to attack Xing Li and the others. Puff, puff, puff. Without the protection of the green light screen, Xing Li and the others were instantly hit by the ancient swords. Hideous wounds appeared on their bodies. Xing Li, Xing Tao, seeing the state of Xing Li and the others, Xing Qinghan was shocked. He nervously flew towards them. When he came to Xing Li and the others, Xing Qinghan stabilized their bodies and checked their injuries. After checking, he found that Xing Li and the others were not in danger. Xing Qinghan was relieved. This kid's methods are very strange. It will be very difficult to kill him today. Let's go back first and discuss. After seeing Mo Qingyun's power and strangeness, Xing Qinghan also knew that he could not kill Mo Qingyun. Hearing Xing Qinghan's words, Xing Li and the others nodded. They agreed with Xing Qinghan's suggestion. This time, they had suffered a great loss due to their carelessness. It was not wise to continue fighting. It was better to go back and discuss a better plan. They could slowly deal with Mo Qingyun again. Xing Qinghan and the others came to an agreement. They did not want to stay any longer. They wanted to leave this place together. Seeing the actions of Xing Qinghan and the others, Mo Qingyun's lips curled up. He revealed a mocking expression and said coldly, "Today, none of you can leave. All of you will die here." Chapter 1795. Under Mo Qingyun's control, the 8 ancient swords turned into streaks of light and chased after Xing Qinghan and the others. The ancient swords' flying speed was extremely fast. In the blink of an eye, they caught up with Xing Qinghan and the others, blocking their path. Blocking the path of Xing Qinghan and the others, the 8 ancient swords spread out, completely sealing off their path of retreat. "We can't escape." Seeing such a scene, Xing Qinghan and the others tensed up. They looked at Mo Qingyun with fear in their eyes. All of their paths of retreat were blocked. If they wanted to save their lives today, they could only fight to the death with Mo Qingyun. If they won this battle, they could leave this place alive. If they were to lose this battle, they would be dead for sure. Slash! After blocking Xing Qinghan and the others' path of retreat, Mo Qingyun didn't waste any time with them. He controlled the sword array to attack Xing Qinghan and the others. Under Mo Qingyun's control, the 8 ancient swords immediately formed a mysterious sword array, bursting out dazzling sword rays. The 8 ancient swords turned into streaks of light and attacked Xing Qinghan and the others. Under the 8 ancient swords' frantic dance, they left behind streaks of sword rays, dazzling and dazzling. Xing Li and the others' injuries were extremely heavy. Facing the attack of the 8 ancient swords, they couldn't dodge in time. Puff! Puff! Very quickly, Xing Li was hit by the 8 ancient swords. His injuries worsened, and the blood that flowed out dyed his clothes red. "Brother Qinghan, we can't escape. You don't have to care about us." "No, I can't leave you guys behind. Unless Xing Qinghan dies." "Brother Qinghan, if you don't leave now, we will all die today." "That's right. If you survive, at least you can avenge us." Seeing their injuries getting worse, Xing Li and the others' faces became resolute. They all persuaded Xing Qinghan to leave alone. Their words were true. If Xing Qinghan cared about them, they would all die today. If Xing Qinghan abandoned them and left alone, there might be a chance to save her life. After an intense mental struggle, Qinghan finally made the decision to leave alone. What his clan brother said was true. Rather than everyone dying here, it would be better to save one person's life. This way, the others wouldn't have died in vain, and they would have a chance to take revenge. Brothers, let us be brothers again in the next life. Fortunately, after Qing Han said those words, his figure moved, preparing to leave immediately. Seeing Xing Qinghan's actions, Mo Qingyun immediately guessed what he was thinking. He smiled mockingly and said, Xing Qinghan, you want to drag out an ignoble existence. Don't tell me you don't care about their lives. They're your helpers. There are many of your clansmen among them. While Mo Qingyun was speaking, he did not forget to chase after Xing Qinghan. He did not intend to let Xing Qinghan leave. In the area covered by the combination gate, even if there was a Saint Realm expert here, their speed would not be faster than Mo Qingyun's. Mo Qingyun's figure flashed, and he appeared in front of Xing Qinghan, once again blocking his path. Demonic Star Splitting Palm. After blocking Xing Qinghan's path, Mo Qingyun immediately waved his arm and chopped at Xing Qinghan. Mo Qingyun's palm blasted out, and a terrifying immortal spiritual power quickly gathered on his arm. Then, a several-meter-long palm shadow blasted out from Mo Qingyun's palm. The palm shadow blasted out from Mo Qingyun's hand, and it swept towards Xing Qinghan with the momentum of sweeping away 1,000 soldiers. Under Mo Qingyun's palm, Xing Qinghan immediately retreated, not daring to meet Mo Qingyun's palm head-on. However, although Xing Qinghan retreated quickly, he was still caught by Mo Qingyun's palm power. 9 Solar Thunderclap Palm. Looking at the rapidly approaching palm shadow, Xing Qinghan no longer hesitated and immediately raised his hand to attack the palm shadow. When Xing Qinghan waved his arm, lightning flashed on his palm, and a terrifying immortal spiritual power erupted. Soon, 9 imposing lightning palm shadows blasted out from Xing Qinghan's palm. Bang, bang, bang. The 9 lightning palm shadows blasted out and collided with the demonic star Splitting Palm, causing a series of loud explosions. But after the 9 explosions, the 9 lightning palm shadows collapsed, as if they were cut in half by a knife. After destroying the lightning palm shadow, the demonic star Splitting Palm's offensive power did not decrease, and directly blasted on Xing Qinghan's body. Pucci. Under the bombardment of the demonic star Splitting Palm, one of Xing Qinghan's arms was directly cut off. Xing Qinghan's face immediately turned pale, and he let out a miserable scream. Although the people of the Longevity clan had a terrifying recovery ability, they could recover no matter how serious the injury was. But it did not mean that when they were seriously injured, they would not feel the slightest bit of pain. Brother Qinghan, how are you? How is this possible? This kid is only a perfected golden immortal. How could demonic arts? This kid must know demonic arts. Otherwise, how could he be so powerful? Xing Li and the others widened their eyes, unable to believe this was true. They could not accept such an outcome. Mo Qingyun was merely a golden celestial of the great all-embracing heaven, but he was still able to overpower a group of 9 heaven's mysterious celestials. To them, this was simply too ironic. I said that none of you can leave, so none of you can leave. Mo Qingyun forced Xing Qinghan back with a palm, and his face turned cold as he said those words. As soon as Mo Qingyun's words fell, he controlled the 8 ancient swords and attacked Xing Qinghan and the others again. Xing Li and the others were now half dead. So how could they be a match for Mo Qingyun? Not to mention fighting Mo Qingyun. Even dodging Mo Qingyun's attacks was extremely difficult. However, Mo Qingyun did not go easy on Xing Qinghan and the others just because they were seriously injured. Mo Qingyun was very clear that if he was the one who was defeated today, his fate would be 100 times more miserable. If he was killed by Qing Han and the others, Long Han Yin and the others on the Fortune mainland would also meet a miserable end. Thinking of this outcome, Mo Qingyun's expression turned cold, and he no longer had any sympathy for Qing Han and the others. Pu. In a short while, under the attacks of the 8 ancient swords, Xing Li and the others were killed. Among all of them, the only one who could guarantee their own lives was Qing Han. "Kid, you dare to kill my clansmen, just wait to be hunted down by my clan." Seeing that Xing Li and the others were killed, Qing Han's eyes turned bloodshot. He wanted nothing more than to grind Mo Qingyun's bones into dust. In the Kunlai immortal realm, it had always been the longevity tribe killing people. They had never been slaughtered like this. This encounter was simply a great humiliation to them. Chapter 1796 / After Mo Qingyun finished speaking, he didn't say anything more to Qing Han and controlled the ancient swords to attack Qing Han. Under Mo Qingyun's control, the 8 ancient swords immediately formed a sword formation and attacked Qing Han from different angles. The ancient sword's attack speed was extremely fast. In the blink of an eye, they arrived in front of Qing Han and bombarded Qing Han. Facing the attack of the 8 ancient swords, Qing Han's expression was nervous and panic flashed in his eyes. From the exchange just now, he already had a deep experience of the power of Mo Qingyun sword formation. An ordinary person of the first level of the 9 heavens Xian immortal realm had no resistance at all and would only become the target of slaughter. Even if his true cultivation was at the second level of the 9 heavens Xian immortal realm, he didn't have the confidence to block the sword formation. In his panic, Qing Han didn't dare to hide his trump card and immediately took out a strange tree root. When this tree root was taken out, the aura on Qing Han's body immediately surged. The suppression of the combination gate on him disappeared without a trace. In just a moment, Qing Han's aura returned to the second level of the 9 heavens Xian immortal realm. Not only that, under the support of the strange tree root, the connection between Qing Han and the Kunlai immortal realm became closer. His cultivation has recovered. Seeing Qing Han's performance, Mo Qingyun was surprised. He was very surprised by this situation. He didn't expect Qing Han to have such a trump card and such a treasure in his hand. Of course, Mo Qingyun was only surprised and didn't have much emotional fluctuation. Even if Qing Han's cultivation had recovered, it wouldn't be too difficult for him to deal with Qing Han, who is at the second level of the 9 heavens Xian immortal realm. Divine fire prairie burning. Under Qing Han's control, the strange tree root in his hand immediately ignited a terrifying flame. The flame ignited on the strange tree root, and like a whirlwind, it instantly engulfed the 8 ancient swords. The 8 ancient swords were engulfed by the flame, and their attacks were immediately stopped, unable to move forward at all. What exactly is this tree root? It actually has such terrifying power. Looking at the root in Qing Han's hand, Mo Qingyun was shocked. He was very curious about the origin of this root. Break! Fortunately, Qing Han's expression sank. She once again channeled celestial spiritual force into the tree root, causing the power of the flames to increase. As the power of the flames increased, the 8 ancient swords were immediately sent flying in all directions. So strong. As the 8 ancient swords were sent flying, Mo Qingyun, who was connected to them, could not help but feel his mind shake. The strength of this tree root had far exceeded his expectations. He could not afford to underestimate it all. "Brat, since you want my life, you'll have to die with me." After sending the 8 ancient swords flying, Qing Han had a crazed look on her face as she controlled the flames to attack Mo Qingyun. Very quickly, the raging flames on the roots pounced towards Mo Qingyun like a lion or tiger. Retreat. Looking at the flames that were pouncing towards him, Mo Qingyun did not dare to meet it head-on. He immediately dodged the attack. With a thought, Mo Qingyun's figure disappeared and appeared in another place. As Mo Qingyun's figure moved, the strange flame attack also missed. He dodged it. Seeing the result in front of her, Xing Qinghan was startled. She was a little surprised. However, although Xing Qinghan was surprised, she also found something wrong. In the area covered by the light door, this brat can move freely. It's very difficult to hit him. Fortunately, Qinghan's qi is weakening. It seems that she has consumed a lot of celestial spiritual force to activate that strange tree root. Mo Qingyun dodged the flame attack. He was also observing Xing Qinghan, thinking of how to kill her. Discovering that Xing Qinghan's qi was weakening, Mo Qingyun's lips curled up. A cold smile appeared on his face. No matter how strange and powerful this tree root is, it will not be able to save your life today. Imperial Seal, Killing Spirit Eye. As soon as Mo Qingyun finished speaking, a cold light flashed in his left eye, and a terrifying soul power burst out. The soul power blasted out, turning into a strange imprint that instantly blasted into Xing Qinghan's spiritual sea. After being hit by Mo Qingyun's soul attack, Xing Qinghan immediately screamed, her face turning even paler. At the same time, the strange flame he was controlling also dimmed a little. However, with the support of the strange tree root, Xing Qinghan's consciousness did not fall into a trance. This brat's methods are too overbearing and strange. If this continues, I won't be able to gain any advantage. After being hit by Mo Qingyun's soul attack, Xing Qinghan's expression became serious. She quickly thought, the divine tree of civilization's root will burn for a long time. Once it burns out, my situation will become very bad. I'd better leave this place as soon as possible. With that thought, Xing Qinghan no longer hesitated. She immediately turned and flew into the distance. The reason she could suppress Mo Qingyun was mainly because of the ancient tree of civilization's root, not her own strength. Therefore, the only thing she could do now was to quit while she was ahead. Otherwise, once she lost the divine tree of civilization's root, she would become a lamb waiting to be slaughtered. Thinking of this, Xing Qinghan turned her body, turned into a stream of light, and flew into the distance. Seeing that Xing Qinghan had fled, Mo Qingyun did not chase after her. He just stood there, frowning. The strange tree root in Xing Qinghan's hand gave him a very dangerous feeling. He could not rashly chase after Xing Qinghan. If he forced Xing Qinghan into a corner and forced him to destroy both jade and stone, that would not be good. Therefore, it would not be too late to slowly deal with Xing Qinghan after he figured out the origin of the tree root. That tree root is not simple. I have to go back and find out more about it. After thinking for a while, Mo Qingyun no longer hesitated and looked at the ghosts. Under the continuous attacks of the ghosts, the people that Xing Qinghan had gathered were almost all killed. The battle should be over. Looking at the fight between the ghosts, Mo Qingyun's figure moved and joined the battle. The ghosts already had the upper hand. With Mo Qingyun joining the battle, the situation immediately became one-sided. In a short while, the people that Xing Qinghan had gathered all died at the hands of Mo Qingyun and the ghosts. After killing these people, Mo Qingyun summoned the ghosts for a while more before leaving with them. After leaving the palace of the war martyrs, Mo Qingyun flew for a while before bringing Man Yin out. Senior sister, where are we going next? Looking at Man Yin, who had appeared beside him, Mo Qingyun asked about her plans. He was prepared to continue accompanying her in her search for refining materials. Chapter 1797. Go back. Mo Qingyun was surprised. He didn't expect Man Yin to say that. After a short moment of surprise, Mo Qingyun nodded and agreed to Man Yan's suggestion. Anyway, it was very convenient to enter the Kunlai immortal realm. At most, they could come back after a while. Besides, he was almost done cultivating his bloodline abilities. It was indeed time to return to the clan. After Mo Qingyun and Man Yin finished their discussion, they didn't waste any more time and returned to the Heavenly Soul Demon clan together. With some previous experience, Mo Qingyun and Man Yan's departure from the Xixian desert was much smoother. The two of them had a smooth journey and didn't encounter any obstacles. Soon, Mo Qingyun and Man Yan left the Xixian desert and headed to the exit of the Kunlai Immortal Realm. When they were about to reach the exit of the Kunlai Immortal Realm, Mo Qingyun's expression tensed up. He was worried that the Longevity Tribe would ambush them here. After all, he had killed many geniuses of the Longevity Tribe. Xing Qinghan had brought people to take revenge on him. This was a natural thing. However, what surprised Mo Qingyun was that there were no Longevity Tribe members lying in ambush here. Then, he and Man Yin left the Kunlai Immortal Realm easily. Mo Qingyun didn't know that Xing Qinghan's heart was filled with worries because of the powerful battle he had displayed and the various strange methods he had used. Although the Longevity Tribe had countless clansmen and experts in the Kunlai Immortal Realm, she didn't dare to take revenge on Mo Qingyun. There was no other way. Mo Qingyun could summon ghosts infinitely. This ability was too abnormal. In the face of Mo Qingyun's methods, the human wave tactic was completely useless. More importantly, due to the power suppression of the Kunlai Immortal Realm, there weren't many experts in the Longevity Tribe in the Kunlai Immortal Realm. Among them, the strongest person was only on the same level as Xing Qinghan. They couldn't threaten Mo Qingyun at all. Therefore, Xing Qinghan felt that finding trouble with Mo Qingyun now would only increase the number of casualties. As soon as he came out of the Kunlai Immortal Realm, Mo Qingyun saw a familiar face. He could not help but frown slightly. That's right. The person who appeared in front of Mo Qingyun right now was precisely Teng Jiang, who was scheming against Mo Qingyun from behind. For Teng Jiang to suddenly appear here, it was unknown if he was deliberately waiting for Mo Qingyun or if he wanted to meet Mo Qingyun on a narrow road. You're actually fine? Seeing Mo Qingyun return safely, Teng Jiang revealed a shocked expression and could not help but ask Mo Qingyun. From this, it could be seen that he had purposely waited here to inquire about Mo Qingyun. However, what surprised him was that Mo Qingyun was able to return unscathed despite being pursued by the Sacred Might clan. Of course, Teng Jiang did not know that Mo Qingyun was being pursued by the Longevity clan. Otherwise, the shock in his heart would be even more intense. What? Are you very surprised that we came back alive? Seeing Teng Jiang's reaction, Mo Qingyun's expression became colder and his body emitted a murderous intent. With his intelligence, he could naturally see that the pursuit was related to Teng Jiang. However, before he had concrete evidence, Mo Qingyun did not want to make a move. He only wanted to warn Teng Jiang. In the face of Mo Qingyun's questioning, Teng Jiang's expression trembled, clearly showing a guilty conscience. Teng Jiang stammered for a long time, but could not find a suitable excuse. He snorted coldly and said, "Humph. Of course, I don't want you to come back alive. If you die in the Kunlai Immortal Realm, it will save me a lot of trouble." He and Mo Qingyun were enemies, so why was there a need to be secretive? In the face of Teng Jiang's attitude, the corners of Mo Qingyun's mouth curled up slightly. He laughed and said, "Don't worry. Even if the people of your Teng lineage are all dead, I, Mo Qingyun, will still live well." Mo Qingyun knew very well that he had already become enemies with the Teng lineage, so there was no room for negotiation. The only result was that there would be no Teng lineage with him. With the Teng lineage, there would be no Mo Qingyun. In this way, there was no need for him to hide anything. What he needed to do now was to continuously strengthen himself so that he had the strength to contend with the Teng lineage. "Senior sister, let's go." Mo Qingyun glanced meaningfully at Teng Jiang, who was in front of him. Then, he ignored Teng Jiang. After leaving the teleportation platform, Mo Qingyun and Teng Jiang did not stop and immediately returned to their residence. After a while, Mo Qingyun and Teng Jiang returned to their residence and saw a senior brother coming up to them nervously. "Little junior brother, you're finally back." This senior brother walked up and greeted Mo Qingyun with an anxious tone. When he saw this senior brother, Mo Qingyun frowned slightly and asked in confusion, "Senior brother Bai Yu, what's wrong?" Did something urgent happen? Under Mo Qingyun's question, Baiyu shook his head and said, nothing urgent happened. It's just that a few days ago, a few seniors who were cultivating in the 6th heavenly layer suddenly returned to the main clan. They asked you to meet them immediately, but you weren't in the clan. Seniors who were cultivating in the 6th heavenly layer? When he heard this, Mo Qingyun frowned slightly. He was slightly surprised by this situation. According to Mo Qingyun's understanding of the Heavenly Soul Devil Clan, those who were able to cultivate in the 6th heavenly layer were basically experts at the 4th level of the 9 heavens Xian immortal realm. The sudden appearance of a few experts at the 4th level of the 9 heavens Xian immortal realm wasn't good news for Mo Qingyun. This way, he couldn't act recklessly in the Heavenly Soul Devil Clan. After the battle with Xing Qinghan, he was very clear about his own strength. He could barely deal with experts at the 3rd level of the 9 heavens Xian immortal realm. However, it was extremely difficult to defeat experts at the 3rd level of the 9 heavens Xian immortal realm. He was less than 30% confident. Not to mention the experts at the 4th level of the 9 heavens Xian immortal realm. These people weren't people he could deal with. Even if he had the help of the 6-eared macaque or Tiger Soul's God Shooter Bao, the result would still be the same. Forget it. Since I can't hide, I'll just go and take a look. Mo Qingyun sighed. He was very calm and didn't have any psychological burden. He said, Senior Brother Baiyu, where are those seniors now? Take me there immediately. When he heard Mo Qingyun, Baiyu smiled bitterly and said, Little junior brother, you think too highly of me. I don't have the qualifications to meet those seniors. Mo Qingyun was slightly stunned. He didn't understand what Baiyu meant. When he saw Mo Qingyun's puzzled expression, Baiyu didn't stop and continued. I'm only responsible for waiting for you here. So long as you return, I'll immediately take you to see Master and ask Master to take you to see those seniors. How troublesome. Mo Qingyun shook his head and wasn't willing to waste any more time. He said, if that's the case, then I'll go see Master first. After he spoke to Baiyu and the other person, Mo Qingyun walked forward. He intended to go see Divine Craftsman Burning Sword first. Chapter 1798. Soon, Mo Qingyun arrived at the residence of Divine Craftsman Burning Sword and saw him sitting in the courtyard. As soon as Mo Qingyun came out of the courtyard, the Burning Sword Divine Craftsman in the courtyard knew and got up to greet him. Disciple greets Master. Mo Qingyun bowed respectfully when he saw the approaching Divine Craftsman Burning Sword. No need to be so polite. Sit down first. In response to Mo Qingyun's actions, the Divine Craftsman waved his hand with a faint smile and led Mo Qingyun into the courtyard. Mo Qingyun nodded and followed Divine Craftsman Burning Sword into the courtyard and sat down on a stone bench in the courtyard. I'm sure Baiyu has already told you about the general situation. Divine Craftsman Burning Sword sat down and didn't beat around the bush with Mo Qingyun, going straight to the point. Mo Qingyun nodded in response to Divine Craftsman Funjian. Divine Craftsman Burning Sword's expression turned serious and said, before meeting the elders, let me remind you that you have to be careful of Tongmeng. Tongmeng? Mo Qingyun's expression turned serious and curiosity appeared on his face. From Divine Craftsman Burning Sword's performance, this Tongmeng should be a very important figure in the Tong branch. Divine Craftsman Burning Sword's eyes flashed with anger under Mo Qingyun's gaze. He said, Tongmeng can be considered a top figure in the Tong branch. This person is very narrow-minded. You injured many members of the Tong branch during Ancestral Awakening, so he will definitely make things difficult for you later. You have to be careful of him. Disciple understands. Mo Qingyun nodded and silently raised his guard against this guy called Tongmeng. Since Divine Craftsman Burning Sword had repeatedly warned him, it was clear that this Tongmeng wasn't simple. He had to be careful. Moreover, those who could cultivate above the 6th heavenly layer were all experts at the 4th level of the 9 heavens Xian immortal realm. Being remembered by such an expert wasn't something to be happy about. He couldn't afford to be careless. Seeing Mo Qingyun's tense expression, as if he had some concerns, The burning sword divine craftsman smiled faintly and said, "You don't have to worry too much. Although the tongue branch is strong, they can't control the sky with one hand." Among the seniors who came back this time, there's also a very fair ancestor, Jiang Shangyao. Hearing this, Mo Qingyun's expression eased a bit, and he felt a bit more confident. Since there was someone who could keep the Tang family in check, he felt much more at ease. At least, he didn't have to worry about Tang Meng messing around. Next, Mo Qingyun and Mo Qingyun discussed the things they should pay attention to when meeting Tang Meng and the others later. All right, let's go over. After discussing with Mo Qingyun, Divine Craftsman Burning Sword didn't want to waste any time. He got up and said to Mo Qingyun, at Divine Craftsman Burning Sword signal, Mo Qingyun got up and followed him to meet Jiang Shangyao and the others. After leaving the residence of Divine Craftsman Burning Sword, they met some clansmen and they all bowed to him. Divine Craftsman Burning Sword didn't have a very high seniority in the Tianhun demon race, but his status was very high. After all, if they had a good relationship with Divine Craftsman Burning Sword, it would be easy to make weapons in the future. In the world of cultivation, the importance of a weapon to a cultivator was self-evident. Mo Qingyun and Burning Sword walked straight and came to a secluded valley. In the center of the valley, there was a huge black castle. This was Mo Qingyun and Burning Sword's destination, Tenchu Palace. Walking to the front of the castle, Mo Qingyun saw a huge signboard hanging at the entrance of the castle. This signboard was surrounded by demonic energy, as if it was an ancient demonic god, causing people to feel intimidated. Greetings to Ancestor Tenchu. Divine Craftsman Burning Sword stood in front of the plaque and bowed respectfully. Although Mo Qingyun was puzzled by the Divine Craftsman's actions, he hurriedly bowed to the plaque. As Mo Qingyun and Burning Sword bowed, a black shadow flew out of the plaque and appeared in front of Mo Qingyun and Burning Sword. Burning Sword, this kid is not bad. Train him well in the future. The black figure glanced at Mo Qingyun. Then, with a look of admiration, he gave the Divine Craftsman, the Burning Sword, some instructions. Seeing this black shadow, Mo Qingyun's expression changed. His eyes were filled with shock. The aura exuded by this figure was comparable to the demonic sky sword chi of the War Martyrs. It was obvious that he was a saint powerhouse when he was alive. Burning Sword will remember Ancestor Tenchu's advice. Divine Craftsman Burning Sword nodded and bowed to the black figure. Seeing this, Tenchu looked at Mo Qingyun again before returning to the plaque. All right, you two can go in. Mo Qingyun and Burning Sword nodded and walked into Tenchu Palace. Ancestor Tenchu is like you. He also has an ancient bloodline and was once the strongest person in our race. Seeing Mo Qingyun's confusion, Burning Sword briefly explained Tenchu's identity to Mo Qingyun. However, during the Dark Demon Race's rebellion, Ancestor Tenchu was attacked by 7 saint powerhouses of the Dark Demon Race. He was severely injured, and only a wisp of his soul was left. In the end, he became the weapon spirit of Tenchu's plaque. So that's how it is. After listening to Divine Craftsman Burning Sword's explanation, Mo Qingyun revealed a look of understanding. He now had a better understanding of Tianzhong's identity. Burning Sword didn't stop there. He continued to talk about Tenchu's deeds. Because Tenchu Palace is an important place for our race, a respected ancestor must guard it. Ancestor Tenchu volunteered to guard this place and hasn't left for tens of millions of years. Ancestor Tenchu is a respectable senior. Mo Qingyun nodded after hearing about Tenchu's deeds. He felt some respect for Tenchu. With Tenchu's powerful cultivation, it wouldn't be difficult for him to reincarnate, but he had always guarded this place. It was clear that he was a man of principle and responsibility. While Mo Qingyun was pondering, the Burning Sword Divine Craftsman's expression suddenly turned solemn. He added, "Besides, while Ancestor Tianzhong guards the Celestial Palace, everything that happens in the main Celestial Soul Demon race is under his observation. So he's also observing my bloodline's atavism?" Mo Qingyun's heart trembled. He couldn't help but feel some lingering fear. He was glad that he hadn't done anything too extreme. He didn't expect that he had been observed all this time without realizing it. While Mo Qingyun was rejoicing, he also felt some lingering fear in his heart. He said worriedly, "Since Tenchu has been secretly observing me, could he have found out about me entering the Fortune mainland and the Fortune gate on me?" Mo Qingyun was very worried about this. If this secret of his aroused Tenchu's evil thoughts, it would be bad for him. Although Tenchu had always been loyal to the Tianhun demon race, it wasn't hard to say that he wasn't greedy. With his powerful strength, if he harbored evil thoughts towards Mo Qingyun wouldn't be able to resist. Thinking of this, Mo Qingyun secretly raised his guard against Tenchu. Chapter 1799. Of course. The divine craftsman nodded, confirming Mo Qingyun's guess. Mo Qingyun's heart shook when he heard this. He thought of an even worse situation. There was a special existence like Tenchu in the main Tianhun demon race. Who knew if there were other old monsters? The more Mo Qingyun thought about it, the more shocked he became. He sighed that he had been too careless and didn't consider this. The top 10 races of the 10,000 ancient tribes board couldn't be looked at with ordinary eyes. The waters were too deep. No wonder no race dared to do anything against them when they each ruled a desolate world. The two sides weren't on the same level at all. If the other races dared to rebel, they would be tired of living. Of course, while Mo Qingyun was still feeling scared, he was also feeling a little more confident. Since there was someone like Tenchu, he didn't have to worry about Teng Meng messing around. He was less worried about Teng Meng. Mo Qingyun and the divine craftsman chatted as they walked. They soon arrived at Tenchu Palace and saw a few old men sitting inside. After entering Tenchu Palace, the divine craftsman transmitted a message to Mo Qingyun and introduced the old men in the hall. The golden-haired old man at the top of the hall is the most impartial ancestor, Jiang Shangyao. When Mo Qingyun heard the divine craftsman's introduction, he looked at Jiang Shangyao and couldn't help but shudder. Jiang Shangyao had reached the 5th level of the 9 heavens Xian Immortal. It seemed that he had underestimated Jiang Shangyao and the others. Those who could cultivate above the 6th heavenly layer really couldn't be underestimated. While Mo Qingyun was shocked, the divine craftsman's expression turned cold. He transmitted a message to him again. The old man in black next to Jiang Shangyao is Teng Meng. You have to be careful of him. With his personality, he'll definitely make things difficult for you. Mo Qingyun nodded and looked at Teng Meng. He saw that Teng Meng's eyes were filled with killing intent. Mo Qingyun didn't care about Teng Meng's gaze at all. He faced him without showing any weakness. While Mo Qingyun and Teng Meng were facing each other, the divine craftsman introduced the others to Mo Qingyun one by one. "Greetings, ancestors." Walking in front of Jiang Shangyao and the others, the divine craftsman cupped his hands and bowed. Mo Qingyun followed behind divine craftsman Fun Jian and bowed to everyone before standing in the hall with an indifferent expression. "Not bad, not bad." Looking at Mo Qingyun's natural expression, Jiang Shangyao nodded approvingly and smiled. "You can maintain such calmness under our aura. You're indeed not comparable to an ordinary junior." "Thank you for the praise, Ancestor Jiang Shangyao." Mo Qingyun nodded respectfully. His expression was still calm. Seeing Mo Qingyun's action, Teng Meng's expression sank, and he snorted coldly. "Umph. You have no respect for your elders. You're just a guy who doesn't respect his elders." Hearing Teng Meng's words, everyone's expression immediately changed, and they looked at Teng Meng in surprise. They had all guessed that Teng Meng would find trouble with Mo Qingyun, but they hadn't expected Teng Meng to be so direct. While everyone's expression changed drastically, Mo Qingyun was still as indifferent as ever. He looked calmly at Teng Meng and smiled. "Since Ancestor Teng Meng insists, I, Mo Qingyun, will accept this accusation." "Oh." Seeing Mo Qingyun's attitude, Teng Meng's expression immediately darkened and he looked furious. He had originally thought that Mo Qingyun would choose to swallow his anger under his questioning. Unexpectedly, Mo Qingyun was unwilling to be outdone and rebutted him. This situation was somewhat beyond his expectations, and he had never thought of it. Teng Ming is just a junior. Why do you have to lower yourself to his level? Seeing that Teng Ming was about to get angry, Jiang Shangyao immediately spoke to stop him. He looked at Mo Qingyun with a faint smile and said, "Little guy, I heard that you have been cultivating alone outside. Tell us about your situation." "Yes." Hearing Jiang Shangyao's words, Mo Qingyun nodded and told some of his experiences. During Mo Qingyun's narration, Jiang Shangyao and the others were surprised. They hadn't expected Mo Qingyun's situation to be so rich. Compared to Jiang Shangyao and the others, Teng Ming's expression grew darker and darker. He snorted coldly and said, "Humph. With your cultivation at the true immortal realm, how could you escape from the Dark Devil clan at the golden immortal realm of the great all-embracing heaven? Why not?" Mo Qingyun's face was indifferent. He retorted indifferently and said, "Some time ago, when I was in the ancestral awakening, I was challenged by many people who were one realm higher than me. Didn't I defeat them easily? How can it be the same?" Teng Ming's expression became serious. He retorted to Mo Qingyun and said, "The challenges in the clan are not overdone. It is not comparable to your life and death battle. According to old ancestor Teng Ming, if a person of a lower realm encounters a person of a higher realm, he will definitely die." Mo Qingyun had a look of disdain on his face when he heard Teng Ming's fallacious reasoning. He asked him in displeasure. After retorting Teng Ming, Mo Qingyun didn't stop speaking, and he refused to be outdone as he said, "If one only knows how to suppress others with a higher realm of cultivation and is instantly annihilated when encountering someone of the same realm, then is there any difference between such a person and trash? Am I right, old ancestor Teng Ming? Kid, you actually dare to make oblique accusations?" When he heard Mo Qingyun, Teng Ming immediately discerned the hidden meaning in Mo Qingyun's words, and he stamped with rage. He was a dignified old ancestor at the 4th level of the 9 Heavens mysterious immortal realm, yet he was actually insulted by a junior at the golden immortal realm. How could he endure such a thing? In next to no time, a formidable, imposing aura erupted from Teng Ming's body. When he saw Teng Ming's actions, the nearby Jiang Shangyao's expression immediately turned solemn, and he released his imposing aura to stop Teng Ming from pressuring Mo Qingyun. Under Jiang Shangyao's actions, Teng Ming's imposing aura was immediately obstructed, and it allowed Mo Qingyun to avoid being pressured by Teng Ming's imposing aura. "Jiang Shangyao, are you intentionally protecting him?" When he saw Jiang Shangyao's actions, Teng Ming revealed a displeased expression and spoke with displeasure, and then he said, "Don't all of you forget that the Dark Devil race is treacherous and cunning, and they're most adept in disguise and deceit. If the Dark Devil race infiltrates our clan, then it will be the greatest danger to our clan." When they heard Teng Ming's words, the faces of Jiang Shangyao and the others frowned as they never imagined that Teng Ming would target Mo Qingyun like this. Haha, what a joke. When he heard Teng Ming's words, Mo Qingyun immediately burst into laughter. He looked at Teng Ming in disdain and said, "Ancestor Teng Ming, if you want to target me, Mo Qingyun, then just say it directly. There's no need to beat around the bush like this." Teng Ming's face darkened as he glared at Mo Qingyun, and his face twitched constantly. He never thought that the kid in front of him would be so bold as to directly bring the matter to the surface. If he really did make a move against Mo Qingyun, it would instead seem like he had a guilty conscience. Seeing Mo Qingyun's actions, Jiang Shangyao and the others all nodded and showed admiration for Mo Qingyun. It seemed that the kid in front of them was not simple. Chapter 1800. Did you see that? I only said a few words to him, yet he showed such an attitude. Teng Ming's expression darkened. He turned towards Jiang Shangyao's group and scolded Mo Qingyun again. He said with slight anger, "Tell me, is this the attitude a junior should have towards his elders?" Jiang Shangyao's group remained silent. Mo Qingyun's attitude towards his elders was indeed a bit inappropriate. A complacent expression appeared on Teng Meng's face when he saw Jiang Shangyao and the others remained silent. He continued, his cultivation is still not high right now, yet he's already so arrogant and disrespectful. Once he grows up in the future, wouldn't it be even harder to restrain him? Haha, Ancestor Teng Meng is truly eloquent. I admire your ability to spout nonsense. As Teng Meng spoke, Mo Qingyun raised his head and laughed again. His expression was filled with contempt and mockery. Mo Qingyun's laughter immediately attracted everyone's attention. They wanted to see what he wanted to say. Seeing Mo Qingyun's actions, Teng Meng immediately trembled with anger. He could no longer suppress the killing intent in his heart. This brat was too arrogant. If he didn't kill him, it would be difficult to dispel the hatred in his heart. What? You want to kill me just because I said a few words to you? Is this the attitude a senior should have? Under Teng Meng's killing intent, Mo Qingyun was not afraid at all. He confronted Teng Meng with an unyielding expression and questioned, "Let me ask you, how can a junior respect a senior without any magnanimity? Respect between people is mutual. If you want others to respect you, you must first learn to respect others." Jiang Shangyao's group all nodded. A faint smile appeared on their faces as they agreed with Mo Qingyun's words. Under the gaze of Jiang Shangyao's group, Mo Qingyun's spirit did not diminish. He turned towards Jiang Shangyao's group and asked, "Ancestors, may I ask, what is a clan? What is the meaning of its existence? What does it need to continue and grow?" Faced with Mo Qingyun's sudden question, Jiang Shangyao's group hesitated. They didn't know how to refute it. Jiang Shangyao remained silent for a moment. He looked at Mo Qingyun with interest and smiled. "Little guy, your question is very unique. Tell me your understanding." "Okay." Mo Qingyun nodded. With an arrogant attitude, he stood in the middle of the hall and said, "A clan, to put it bluntly, is a big family. It is the foundation of a person. When you are weak, it protects you and trains you. When you are strong, it needs you to defend its dignity." "Good, well said. Your interpretation is very good." After hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Jiang Shangyao immediately clapped his hands and praised Mo Qingyun. Aside from Teng Meng, the other patriarchs also nodded approvingly at Mo Qingyun. Who doesn't know how to talk with their mouths?" Teng Meng snorted coldly. He was displeased and disapproved of Mo Qingyun's words. Ignoring Teng Meng's attitude, Mo Qingyun continued to look at Jiang Shangyao and the others. He said, "Ancestors, let me ask you one more thing. When you are weak, the clan does not protect you or train you. Instead, it oppresses and persecutes you at all times. When you are strong, will you be willing to protect the clan?" Jiang Shangyao and the others remained silent. They could not answer this question. From the bottom of their hearts, no matter who it was that suffered such treatment, they probably would not protect the clan. Seeing Jiang Shangyao and the others remain silent, Mo Qingyun looked at Teng Meng and asked, "Ancestor Teng Meng, you say that I only know how to talk. Let me ask you now, when my bloodline reawakened, I resonated with the bloodline of the entire Heavenly Soul Devil clan and raised the grade of everyone's bloodline. Is this a contribution to the clan?" "Why, Teng Meng had never thought that Mo Qingyun would ask a question like this. He actually became rather speechless. Mo Qingyun had resonated with the bloodline of the entire clan. This was a great contribution to the Heavenly Soul Devil clan. No one could deny this. Before Teng Meng could refute, Mo Qingyun did not stop. He asked Teng Meng again, "Let me ask you one more time. What contributions have you, Teng Meng, made to the clan? If you have, please say it out loud immediately." "How dare you? Since when is it up to a junior like you to care about my deeds?" Teng Meng immediately became displeased when he saw Mo Qingyun's attitude. He slapped at Mo Qingyun. Mo Qingyun chose to ignore Teng Meng's slap. He did not take it to heart at all. Mo Qingyun was doing this for two reasons. Firstly, he wanted to take the lead. Secondly, he wanted to see if Tianzhong was secretly observing them. Mo Qingyun's guess was correct. Tianzhong had been secretly observing. When Teng Meng attacked, a powerful obscure aura affected Mo Qingyun's body. This aura was very well hidden. Other than Mo Qingyun himself, no one else noticed it at all. Of course, Mo Qingyun dared to be so fearless because he believed that Jiang Shangyao would not let anything happen to him. One had to know that he was currently the most talented junior in the Heavenly Soul Devil clan. No matter what, Jiang Shangyao would not let anything happen to him. He would not let the Heavenly Soul Devil clan lose a talented junior. Teng Meng, you've gone too far. As expected, Jiang Shangyao's face immediately darkened when he saw Teng Meng's actions. He raised his hand to block Teng Meng's slap and said angrily, "Don't forget that you're in Tenchu's palace. It's not a place where you can act as you please." Jiang Shangyao. Teng Meng's face darkened when he saw Jiang Shangyao protect Mo Qingyun again and again. Coldness flashed through his eyes. Anyone with a discerning eye could tell that Teng Meng wanted to kill Jiang Shangyao. He would definitely think of a way to take revenge in the future. Mo Qingyun looked at the furious Teng Meng with disdain. He said, "Ancestor Teng Meng, let me tell you what you've done for the clan. You've killed geniuses and eliminated dissidents. You've caused the clan to fall into internal strife." Jiang Shangyao and the others were stunned. They all stared at Mo Qingyun in shock. They had never thought that Mo Qingyun would be so bold. Although everyone knew about this, there was not a single person who dared to say it out loud. This kid's guts aren't ordinary. Divine craftsman Fen Jian smiled bitterly when he saw Mo Qingyun's actions. His emotions were immediately complicated. He had underestimated Mo Qingyun once again. He had underestimated Mo Qingyun's courage. "Kid, don't spout nonsense." Even with Teng Meng's mental fortitude, he could not help but panic when Mo Qingyun scolded him like this. He had no choice. Mo Qingyun's words were not without basis. "I'm spouting nonsense." Mo Qingyun sneered. He glanced at Teng Meng in disdain and said, "Let me ask you something. I'm the most talented junior of the Heavenly Soul Demon race in the past 10 million years. You've targeted me, slandered me, and even tried to kill me earlier. Aren't you trying to kill a genius of the clan?" Mo Qingyun's words didn't stop as he continued to question Teng Meng. "You're in such a hurry to kill me because I can't be used by you. You're worried that after I grow up, I'll become a stumbling block for you to eliminate dissidents." Chapter 1801. You're spouting nonsense. Teng Meng retorted with a guilty conscience. His tone was pale and powerless. He had no choice but to panic. If one carefully considered what Mo Qingyun said now, they would find that every word he said was true. If his crime was confirmed, Teng Meng would be finished. He would become a sinner in the history of the Heavenly Soul Demon race. "I think you're the one spouting nonsense." Seeing Teng Meng's panicked reaction, Mo Qingyun smiled disdainfully. He mocked Teng Meng and said, "Previously, you slandered me as a spy sent by the Dark Demon race. Let me ask you, have you seen the bloodlines planted by the Dark Demon race undergo atavism?" Teng Meng's pupil shrank when he heard Mo Qingyun's question. He realized that he had misspoken. Everyone knew that although the Dark Demon race could plant bloodlines, there was a limitation. The bloodlines they planted could not undergo atavism. Once they were planted, they would be fixed. Otherwise, the Dark Demon race would not be as powerful as they were now. The bloodlines planted by the Dark Demon race cannot be upgraded. This is indeed a well-known fact. It seems that Teng Meng is slandering Mo Qingyun. This is really too much. Teng Meng, I hope that you can give us a reasonable explanation for this matter. After hearing Mo Qingyun's analysis, Jiang Shangyao and the others were unhappy. They questioned Teng Meng one after another. Under the gaze of Jiang Shangyao and the others, Teng Meng's expression became even more flustered. He stammered, Am I not being careful? Moreover, even if he is not a member of the Dark Demon race, who knows if he is controlled by the Dark Demon race? Ha, lamentable, truly lamentable." Mo Qingyun laughed loudly when he heard Teng Meng's words. He sneered at Teng Meng and said, "I never would have thought that the great Heavenly Soul Demon race would fall to the point where they can't even tolerate a genius of a younger generation. If that's really the case, I don't think the heavenly soul demon race will exist for much longer. Impudent. Tung Meng immediately rejoiced when he heard Mo Qingyun's words. He shouted angrily at Mo Qingyun. The way he saw it, he had finally found a weakness in Mo Qingyun's words, and he could use it to convict Mo Qingyun. Xiaochen narrowed his eyes slightly when he saw Tung Meng's actions. He looked at Tung Meng calmly and said with a smile, "Old ancestor Tung Meng, do you think you can use this as an excuse to convict me again?" Tung Meng immediately became speechless when his thoughts were exposed by Mo Qingyun. He did not know how to refute this. If it was someone else, he would not panic at all when his intentions were exposed. But this kid in front of him was really too cunning. His performance was also too calm. He was worried that Mo Qingyun had purposely said this to set up a new trap for him. Tung Meng was speechless for a while. His face sank, and a cold aura emanated from his body. He said, "Kid, don't try to twist words. As far as I'm concerned, what you said just now is clearly your true thoughts." Mo Qingyun's expression did not change in response to Tung Meng's question. He calmly looked at Jiang Shangyao and the others and said, "Ancestors, ask yourselves honestly. Was I wrong earlier?" Mo Qingyun's words are unpleasant, but they are the truth. This kid is right. If we can't even face this, the heavenly soul demons will be finished. This brat's guts aren't ordinary. He dares to say anything. However, I quite like his personality. Jiang Shangyao and the others bitterly smiled when they saw Mo Qingyun's actions. They felt rather helpless against Mo Qingyun. At this moment, a figure flew into the hall as Jiang Shangyao and the others whispered to each other. Jiang Shangyao and the others panicked when they saw the figure fly over. They hurriedly went to welcome the figure. That's right, the figure was Tenchu. "Greetings, Ancestor Tenchu." Jiang Shangyao and the others bowed. They were all extremely respectful. Oof. Tenchu snorted unhappily when he saw how Jiang Shangyao and the others were behaving. He was clearly very displeased with them. "Look at you. You're all showing off in front of your juniors, but you're like mice in front of a cat when you see your seniors." Ancestor Tenchu is right. Jiang Shangyao and the others bitterly smiled in the face of Tenchu's scolding. They could not voice their grievances. Were they supposed to be like Mo Qingyun? They did not have the courage to do that. Tenchu became even more disappointed when he saw how Jiang Shangyao and the others behaved. He sighed. "No wonder the other clans say that our heavenly soul demons are getting worse with each generation. You could tell just by looking at you." Mo Qingyun was stunned. He felt rather conflicted. When Ancestor Tenchu spoke, he was not polite at all. After scolding Jiang Shangyao and the others, Tenchu's expression darkened. He looked coldly at Tung Meng and said, "Tung Meng, this old man is very disappointed in you. Go to Nightmare Valley and reflect on your mistakes for 100 days. Reflect on his mistakes for 100 days in Nightmare Valley?" Jiang Shangyao and the others trembled when they heard Tenchu's words. They felt a strong, lingering fear. Luckily, they did not act like Tung Meng and wrongly accuse Mo Qingyun. Otherwise, he would also be like Tung Meng and enter Nightmare Valley to reflect on his mistakes. They knew very well what kind of place Nightmare Valley was. It was not a place for humans to stay. Even if a Saint Realm expert entered, their heart would be shrouded by nightmares. They would sink into fear, worry, and self-blame all day long. Some people with weak wills, even if they were at the Nine Heavens Xian Immortal Realm, would completely lose themselves. Under normal circumstances, a person would be punished for 5 to 10 days at most. Who would have thought that Tenchu would punish Tung Meng for 100 days? It could be seen how dissatisfied Tenchu was with Tung Meng and how angry he was. "Yes, I will go receive my punishment now." Under Tenchu's command, Tung Meng did not dare to do anything, but he still obediently went to Nightmare Valley. After Tenchu punished Tung Meng, he looked at Mo Qingyun and said unhappily, "You sly little guy. Did you already know that I was secretly observing and purposely said those words for me to hear?" Hearing Tenchu's words, Jiang Shangyao and the others were shocked and couldn't help but widen their eyes. Looking at their current appearance, It was unknown whether they were shocked by Mo Qingyun's courage or Mo Qingyun's perception. None of them had noticed that Tenchu had been secretly observing, but Mo Qingyun had clearly noticed. It could be seen how powerful Mo Qingyun's perception was. Qingyun wouldn't dare. Faced with Tenchu's questioning, Mo Qingyun laughed embarrassedly and appeared to be somewhat guilty. Speaking of which, his words just now were indeed meant for Tenchu to hear. Seeing Mo Qingyun's appearance, Tenchu became even more annoyed and fiercely glared at Mo Qingyun, saying, "You wouldn't dare? I see that your courage has grown. There is nothing you don't dare to do." Chapter 1802. Kid, I know your character best. Don't pretend to be pure in front of me. Tenchu glared at Mo Qingyun and took out a black token. This is the demon punishment token. You can punish anyone in the clan if they make a mistake. Now, I'm passing it to you. I hope you won't disappoint me. Tenchu threw the black token in front of Mo Qingyun. The demon punishment token. Seeing Tianzhong's action, Jiang Shangyao and the rest were greatly alarmed. Each and every one of them stared with wide eyes. Tenchu had actually handed such a precious item to Mo Qingyun. He was treating Mo Qingyun as his successor. One had to know that holding the demon punishment token was equivalent to being the enforcement elder of the Heavenly Soul Demon clan. Under normal circumstances, one had to be at least at the 7th level of the 9 Heavens Xian Immortal Realm to be the enforcement elder of the Heavenly Soul Demon clan. Mo Qingyun was only at the Daluo Golden Immortal Realm. The gap between them was too big. With Mo Qingyun's cultivation, it was the first time in history that he had become the enforcement elder of the Heavenly Soul Demon clan. This was enough to show how important Mo Qingyun was to Tenchu. Mo Qingyun was also surprised by Tenchu's action. He hadn't expected Tenchu to do this. Although his cultivation talent was shocking, his cultivation and experience were too shallow. It was difficult for him to convince the clan. At the very least, if he became the enforcement elder, the people of the Tang clan wouldn't accept him. Ancestor Tenchu, I'm just a junior with no background. I'm afraid I can't convince everyone. Mo Qingyun wasn't in a hurry to accept the demon punishment token. He looked at Tenchu with a faint smile, as if he didn't care about his identity. Of course, Mo Qingyun was thinking the same thing. To him, this demon punishment order was like a hot potato. Once he accepted the demon punishment token, it would inevitably arouse the dissatisfaction and jealousy of many people, which would bring him even more enemies. Tenchu seemed to have expected Mo Qingyun's reaction. He feigned displeasure as he glared at Mo Qingyun and said, "Stinking brat, the stronger you are, the greater the responsibility. This is a responsibility that you cannot escape from. Even if you don't understand, you still have to accept the demon punishment order." Mo Qingyun was speechless. This ancestor Tenchu was too overbearing. Compared to Mo Qingyun's mood, Jiang Shangyao and the others were undoubtedly even more depressed. Mo Qingyun actually didn't want the demon punishment token that others were desperately fighting for. What made them even more speechless was that Mo Qingyun didn't want the devil punishment token, but Tenchu still insisted on giving it to Mo Qingyun. Since when had the demon punishment token become so worthless? Ancestor Tenchu, if there is someone who doesn't trust me, I'll come to you for help. Mo Qingyun looked at Tenchu with a faint smile as he looked at the demon punishment token floating in front of him, as if he wanted to drag Tenchu along. Tenchu was also a little speechless at Mo Qingyun's attitude. After a moment of silence, he smiled and said, "Stinking brat, you really don't want to lose out at all. You even dare to play tricks in front of me. Haha, I'm not familiar with this place, so I'm looking for a big tree to enjoy the shade." Mo Qingyun laughed embarrassedly. He didn't beat around the bush with Tenchu and spoke his thoughts truthfully. In his opinion, there was no point in playing tricks with Tenchu. It was better to be straightforward with him. Jiang Shangyao and the others all broke out in cold sweat when they saw Mo Qingyun's actions. Mo Qingyun was just too bold. He actually dared to speak to Tenchu like that. Was he really not afraid of death? However, what left Jiang Shangyao and the others speechless was that Tenchu was not angered by Mo Qingyun's words at all. He said, "All right, if there's anything you can't handle in the future, feel free to come find me. I'll teach them a lesson for you." "Thank you, Ancestor Tenchu." Mo Qingyun smiled joyfully. He put the demon punishment token away and clasped his hands at Tenchu. After putting away the demon punishment token, Mo Qingyun didn't want to stay any longer. He bowed to Tenchu and the others and said, "Ancestor Tenchu, ancestors, in order to better govern the clan in the future and gain the clan's trust in me, I have to make the best use of my time to cultivate and improve my strength as soon as possible." "You're really cunning, kid." Tenchu glared at Mo Qingyun's performance and waved his hand. "You can leave first. I have some things to tell you." Mo Qingyun nodded and left with the divine craftsman burning sword. Not long after Mo Qingyun left, Jiang Shangyao was puzzled. He couldn't help but ask Tenchu, "Ancestor Tenchu, Mo Qingyun is only a perfected golden immortal. Isn't it a little inappropriate to let him take charge of the demon punishment token?" "Hee, you don't understand." Tenchu smiled meaningfully. He looked at Mo Qingyun's back and praised, "This kid is not simple. It's not easy to take advantage of him. He's very similar to me when I was young." Jiang Shangyao and the others were speechless. They all smiled bitterly, not knowing what to say. After all this time, Tenchu was praising himself. Tenchu ignored Jiang Shangyao and the others and continued, "The Heavenly Soul Demon Clan is too peaceful right now. The various factions only care about their own interests. If this continues, the Heavenly Soul Demon Clan will break apart sooner or later. Ancestor Tenchu, are you thinking of letting this kid break the balance in the clan?" Jiang Shangyao's eyes moved when he heard Tenchu's words. He guessed Tenchu's thoughts. "That's right. I want this kid to cause a ruckus. The bigger the ruckus, the better." Tenchu smiled slyly when he saw that Jiang Shangyao had guessed his thoughts. He said, "With this kid's fearless personality, he'll definitely turn the stagnant pool of the Heavenly Soul Demon Clan upside down. Ancestor Tenchu is wise. This should be what they mean by rise after fall. If that's the case, I'm looking forward to it." Jiang Shangyao and the others were impressed when they heard Tenchu's thoughts. They became excited. Tianzhong didn't pay attention to the flattery of Jiang Shangyao and the others. With a serious expression, he said, "All of you, listen up. If there's an opportunity, help that kid add fuel to the fire." "Yes, we understand." Jiang Shangyao and the others nodded. They immediately had a plan. From Tenchu's actions, they could tell that he was prepared to make a big move to govern the Heavenly Soul Demon Clan. Mo Qingyun and Jiang Shangyao did not stop after they left Tenchu's palace. They returned to their own residence. Mo Qingyun did not know Tenchu's true intentions. He was not interested in thinking about it either. What he was thinking about now was how to make use of Tenchu to gain a firm foothold in the Heavenly Soul Demon Clan. Now that he had Tenchu's backing, he was much less fearful of the Tang lineage. Chapter 1803. Qingyun, you were too rash just now. You'll be in trouble if Forefather Tenchu is displeased. On the way back to his residence, Divine Craftsman Burning Sword had a grave expression as he spoke with lingering fear. As far as he was concerned, Mo Qingyun's actions earlier were truly too rash. Mo Qingyun's forceful rebutting of Tang Meng was still acceptable. But Mo Qingyun had no sense of propriety when negotiating with Tenchu. "Master, there's something you don't know." Mo Qingyun shook his head with a faint smile. "If I were like the other clansmen, I wouldn't be able to gain Forefather Tenchu's favor." "What do you mean?" Divine Craftsman Burning Sword looked puzzled, not understanding what Mo Qingyun meant. Under the Divine Craftsman's gaze, Mo Qingyun smiled craftily and said, "Right now, the Heavenly Soul Demons are divided too much. All the factions fear each other, so everyone is worried about doing things. They can't go all out." Divine Craftsman Burning Sword nodded repeatedly, expressing his approval of Mo Qingyun's words. Although he agreed with Mo Qingyun, the Divine Craftsman still didn't understand. He felt that this had nothing to do with Mo Qingyun. Mo Qingyun continued, The current situation in the Tianhun demon race is like a pool of stagnant water. There's a lifeless atmosphere in the race, and there's no spirit left. This will only make the clansmen more and more dispirited. The divine craftsman's expression changed when he heard Mo Qingyun's words. He understood what Mo Qingyun was referring to. So you're saying that forefather Tianzhong gave you the Devil Punisher medallion so that you can go and wreak havoc in the tribe? Asked divine craftsman Broken Sword. That should be the case. Mo Qingyun nodded and voiced his conjecture. Then he said, however, I still need to slowly verify whether or not this is the case. We can't be careless about this matter. We really need to think about it at length. After listening to Mo Qingyun's analysis, divine craftsman Fun Jian's expression turned grave, and he hurriedly warned Mo Qingyun. In his opinion, since this matter involved Tenchu, he could not afford to be careless. If he angered Tenchu, no one would be able to save Mo Qingyun. Mo Qingyun would really be finished. Tenchu's status in the Heavenly Soul Devil clan was so high that even ordinary saints could not compare to him. After that, Mo Qingyun and Xiao Luo chatted as they walked. Unknowingly, they returned to their residence. When Mo Qingyun returned to his residence, he parted ways with the blacksmith and returned to his courtyard. Back at his residence, Mo Qingyun was in no hurry to enter the Fortune mainland. Instead, he released his soul force to scan the surroundings. He was worried that Tenchu, that wretched old man, was secretly spying on him. As Mo Qingyun was carefully scanning the surroundings, he attracted the six-eared macaque's attention. The six-eared macaque helped him to sense the surroundings. Master, I sense the Saint Realm expert's soul force flashing past here. The six-eared macaque noticed that something was wrong and immediately transmitted a message to Mo Qingyun, reminding Mo Qingyun to be careful. Hearing the six-eared macaque's warning, Mo Qingyun's face lit up. His guess had been confirmed. As expected, Tenchu, that wretched old man, is secretly spying on me again. Knowing that Tenchu was secretly spying on him, Mo Qingyun's lips curled into a faint smile. He thought to himself, it's not that easy to spy on me. When Mo Qingyun thought of this, he no longer hesitated and immediately took out some materials to refine the formation. After taking out the materials, Mo Qingyun did not waste any more time. He immediately began to set up the array. One by one, strange handprints formed in Mo Qingyun's hands and entered each of the materials. After the materials were imprinted with a seal, Mo Qingyun tossed them to various corners to become the base of the array. After a few hours, Mo Qingyun stopped what he was doing. A satisfied smile appeared on his face. At this moment, a fog-like screen of light appeared above Mo Qingyun's yard. It's done. Seeing the fog-like screen of light above his yard, Mo Qingyun's face lit up with a bright smile. He said, "Old man, now I'd like to see how you're going to spy on me." Although Tenchu did not mean any harm, Mo Qingyun did not want to expose his secrets to others. Right now, in Tenchu's palace, my consciousness is being cut off by the array. I did not expect this kid to be proficient in arrays. Tenchu immediately exclaimed when he realized that his consciousness was being cut off. He was very surprised by this situation. He did not think that Mo Qingyun actually also had outstanding talent in the area of array Dao. It seems that the kid has discovered that I've been secretly spying on him. Seeing this, Tenchu thought silently and guessed the general situation. Tenchu frowned when he thought of this. He muttered to himself, I clearly sensed an almost undetectable saint-level consciousness on that kid just now. It seems that this kid has many secrets. Tenchu muttered to himself. He stopped thinking about it and entered Tenchu's palace. Greetings to Ancestor Tenchu. Seeing Tenchu enter the palace, Jiang Shangyao and the others immediately greeted Tenchu respectfully. Tenchu nodded indifferently at Jiang Shangyao and the others' actions. He floated to the top of the palace and said, Shangyao, how many days are left until the next Realm Lord selection? Ancestor Tenchu, there is still a little more than a year. Jiang Shangyao calculated and reported the date of the selection to Tenchu. After hearing Jiang Shangyao's report, Tenchu smiled brightly. It seems that we can still hold another Realm Lord selection. Realm Lord selection? Jiang Shangyao's expression froze. He looked at Tenchu in shock and exclaimed, Ancestor Tenchu, there's only a little more than a year until the Realm Lord selection. Even if we hold another round of Realm Lord selection now, the new Realm Lords won't be able to fight for the position. Whether they have the ability or not is their problem. Whether they hold it or not is our problem. Ignoring Jiang Shangyao's persuasion, Tenchu smiled shrewdly and silently thought of his own plan. Hearing Tenchu's words, Jiang Shangyao's expression immediately lit up. Ancestor Tenchu, is your arrangement to help Mo Qingyun stir up the heavenly soul demons? That's right. Tenchu nodded, confirming Jiang Shangyao's guess. How about this? He said, before the Realm Lord selection, we'll hold a heavenly soul gathering first. Let the geniuses of the clan participate. It'll be the prelude to the main event. Yes, I understand. Jiang Shangyao nodded. After thinking for a bit, he said, Ancestor Tenchu, how about we set the heavenly demon gathering in 3 months on the day the demon ancestors tablet opens? At that time, we can reward the geniuses who perform well and let them enter the demon ancestors tablet to cultivate. That's a good suggestion. Would do as you say. Hearing Jiang Shangyao's suggestion, Tenchu nodded and gave Jiang Shangyao some instructions. Chapter 1804. After isolating Tenchu's consciousness, Mo Qingyun's figure flashed and entered the Fortune mainland. When Mo Qingyun arrived at the Fortune mainland, he did not waste any more time and immediately immersed himself in cultivation. Recently, in the Kunlai Immortal Realm, his cultivation had improved a lot, but he had not had the opportunity to break through. In addition, his cultivation had broken through to the Golden Celestial stage, but he had not cultivated the profound purity scripture and converted the immortal spiritual force in his body. Now that he had come out of the Kunlai Immortal Realm, he could cultivate the profound purity scripture and convert the immortal spiritual force in his body. Speaking of which, this was killing 2 birds with 1 stone. Thinking of this, Mo Qingyun did not delay any longer and immediately took out the immortal spiritual stones to refine. Soon, a small mountain of immortal spiritual stones appeared beside Mo Qingyun. Devouring Gate. After taking out the immortal spiritual stones, Mo Qingyun did not delay any longer and used the Devouring Gate to refine them. Wisps of pure, immortal spiritual force were extracted from the immortal spiritual stones and absorbed into the Devouring Gate. The Devouring Gate converted the immortal spiritual force and passed it into Mo Qingyun's body, allowing Mo Qingyun to refine it. Sensing the immortal spiritual force in his body, Mo Qingyun immediately used the profound purity scripture to refine the immortal spiritual force in his body. Under Mo Qingyun's refinement, the immortal spiritual force was converted bit by bit into the more powerful, profound purity spiritual force. The following time passed little by little as Mo Qingyun cultivated. Unknowingly, Mo Qingyun had cultivated for a month. In this month, Mo Qingyun not only successfully converted the immortal spiritual force, but also made great progress in his cultivation. Now, Mo Qingyun's cultivation had reached the peak of the Firefly stage and was only 1 step away from entering the Robust Soul stage. I'm still a bit away from the Robust Soul stage, but it's impossible to break through immediately. Sensing his own situation, Mo Qingyun's face revealed a regretful expression and could not help but sigh. The golden immortal of the great, all-embracing heaven cultivated the soul. Therefore, the breakthrough of the realm could not be rushed. It had to be done step by step. Looks like we can only wait a little longer. Mo Qingyun sighed. With a flicker, he left the Fortune mainland. Although he wanted to quickly improve his cultivation, he couldn't be too hasty and cause his foundation to be unstable. Coming out from the Fortune mainland, Mo Qingyun opened the door and walked out, muttering to himself, "I've been cultivating for a month. I wonder if anything big happened in the clan during this time." Then, Mo Qingyun walked out of his courtyard with this thought in mind. When Mo Qingyun walked out of the courtyard, he immediately met some of his senior brothers and received a series of greetings. After experiencing the previous events, Mo Qingyun had already won recognition and respect in everyone's hearts. During this process, Mo Qingyun did not meet Manyan. She should be in seclusion refining. After chatting with everyone, Mo Qingyun's footsteps did not stop as he went to the residence of the Burning Sword Divine Blacksmith. He wanted to ask the Burning Sword Divine Blacksmith if there were any undercurrents in the clan. It had already been a month, and the news of him obtaining the Devil Punishment Token should have spread in the clan. Since that was the case, the factions that were dissatisfied with him should have taken action. "Greetings, Master." Arriving at the residence of the Burning Sword Divine Blacksmith, Mo Qingyun bowed. Seeing Mo Qingyun's arrival, the Burning Sword Divine Blacksmith put down the broken sword in his hand and turned to greet Mo Qingyun. "Come, sit here." Mo Qingyun nodded and sat down on the stone bench. He looked at the broken sword curiously. The broken sword's grade was not low. Judging from the aura it emitted, it should have been a quasi-saint artifact. Seeing Mo Qingyun's gaze on the broken sword on the stone bench, the Burning Sword Divine Blacksmith picked up the broken sword and said, "I refined this broken sword 800 years ago. It was the first quasi-saint artifact I refined." "How did it break?" Mo Qingyun had a curious look on his face. He was very curious about the reason for the broken sword. If it could break a quasi-saint artifact, the weapon must have been very powerful, at least at the level of a saint artifact. It was broken by the Sacred Might Tribe's saint artifact, the Sacred Heavenly Dragon Halberd. The Burning Sword Divine Blacksmith answered Mo Qingyun's question in a heavy tone and sighed. "If a weapon is broken, there are ways to repair it, but if a person dies, there is no way to be reborn." Under the influence of the Burning Sword Divine Blacksmith's emotions, Mo Qingyun's mood became heavier and his expression became more serious. He could sense that the person who had used the broken sword had a deep relationship with the Burning Sword Divine Blacksmith. Otherwise, the Burning Sword Divine Blacksmith wouldn't be unable to let go after so long. Under Mo Qingyun's gaze, the Burning Sword Divine Blacksmith sighed again and said, "This broken sword was a gift from your master to your third senior brother. He was once my most outstanding disciple, but who would have thought?" The Burning Sword Divine Blacksmith fell silent and didn't finish his sentence. Could the person who killed third senior brother be from the Sacred Might Tribe? Seeing the Burning Sword Divine Blacksmith's reaction, Mo Qingyun's expression turned cold, and he probed the Burning Sword Divine Blacksmith. The Burning Sword Divine Blacksmith's expression became more complicated when he heard Mo Qingyun's words. He nodded, then shook his head and said, "He was from the Sacred Might Tribe, but he wasn't." Mo Qingyun was confused. He didn't understand the Burning Sword Divine Blacksmith's words. "Your third senior brother wasn't as talented as you, but he was once the most talented junior in the Tianhun demon race," the Burning Sword Divine Blacksmith said. The Burning Sword Divine Craftsman looked sad. He started to recall the past and told Mo Qingyun, "I remember the last Tianhun elite gathering. He shocked everyone and became the champion of the Tianhun elite gathering. I gave him this sword." Mo Qingyun nodded in understanding. He didn't interrupt the Burning Sword Divine Blacksmith and listened quietly. The Burning Sword Divine Blacksmith continued. "Not long after the Tianhun hero gathering ended, he took this sword out to train. Who knew that the bastard from the Tongue bloodline would leak his whereabouts to the Sacred Might Tribe in order to get rid of his enemies and obstacles? As a result, he was killed by the genius of the Sacred Might Tribe, Hui Junling." Leak his whereabouts? Mo Qingyun's heart skipped a beat when he heard the Burning Sword Divine Blacksmith's words. He immediately thought of something. When he saw Tongue Jiang on the teleportation platform, he felt that the Tongue bloodline had something to do with him being hunted down by the Longevity Tribe. Now, it seemed that his guess was correct. The Tongue bloodline was the one who hunted him down. "Tongue lineage, I will remember the kindness you have shown me." Mo Qingyun clenched his fists. He made up his mind to find a chance to get rid of the Tang bloodline. Hua Junling? Mo Qingyun's expression turned colder when he thought of the person who had killed his third senior brother. He said solemnly, "Master, don't worry. I will kill Hua Junling and avenge third senior brother." Chapter 1805. No, I'm not telling you this for revenge. The burning sword divine craftsman explained, dispelling the misunderstanding in Mo Qingyun's heart. He said, "I'm saying this to remind you that there are still 2 months before the Heavenly Soul Gathering. At that time, I hope that you will be careful of others and not follow in your third senior brother's footsteps." This disciple understands. Mo Qingyun's face was filled with gratitude when he heard the burning sword divine craftsman's words. He understood the burning sword divine craftsman's intentions. Divine craftsman's swords nodded in satisfaction at the change in Mo Qingyun's expression. He handed the broken sword to Mo Qingyun. "I'll give this sword to you. I hope it can remind you to be careful of the enemies behind you." "Many thanks, Master." Mo Qingyun nodded and took the broken sword from Divine Craftsman's swords, growing more cautious. While he had Divine Craftsman Sword's protection in the Tianhun demon race, he was still all by himself. Even if Divine Craftsman Swords wanted to help someone like Teng Ming, he wouldn't be able to. As for that old man Tinshu, Mo Qingyun didn't count on him. He'd given the demon punishment token to Mo Qingyun, clearly digging a hole for Mo Qingyun. Mo Qingyun didn't dare count on him. Besides, Tinshu was the artifact spirit of Tinshu Esplak. He couldn't leave the main clan and stay by Mo Qingyun's side to protect him. Once Mo Qingyun left the main clan, he'd still have to rely on himself. In any case, there was no harm in Divine Craftsman Swords reminding Mo Qingyun to be careful. Next, Mo Qingyun and Divine Craftsman Scorching Sword discussed the recent happenings in the main clan. While Mo Qingyun and Divine Craftsman Sword were talking, a Tianhun demon guard hurried to Teng Hui's residence. At this moment, there were many people in Teng Hui's residence. They seemed to be plotting something. "What's the matter? Why are you so flustered?" Seeing the guard's expression, Teng Hui was displeased and reprimanded him. Under Teng Hui's rebuke, the guard panicked and hurriedly took out a letter. "Branch Master, please calm down. There's a mysterious letter here that's to be given to Prince Qing Yun. I secretly intercepted it, and I hope that Branch Master can take a look at it personally." "Oh." Teng Hui was curious when he heard the guard's report. A sinister smile appeared on the corner of his mouth as he said, "Present the letter to me. I like to read it myself and see what secrets this fella has." "Yes." The guard nodded and handed the letter over. Seeing the letter delivered by the guard, some of the surrounding people revealed curious expressions. Under the curious gazes of the crowd, Teng Hui received the letter. His face was filled with shock as he said, "Saint Aura." There's actually Saint Aura floating on this letter. Could it be the work of a Saint Plane expert? Sensing the holy aura on the letter, Teng Hui's curiosity about the letter immediately grew stronger. Immediately after, Teng Hui released a strand of immortal spiritual energy and carefully went deep into the letter. Boom! As soon as the immortal spiritual energy released by Teng Hui seeped into the letter, it was dispersed by a domineering force. Not only that, but when Teng Hui's immortal spiritual energy was dispersed, he also suffered a considerable backlash. Then, blood flowed from the corner of Teng Hui's mouth, and his face became much paler. "Father, how are you?" "Branch Master, are you all right?" "Branch Master, what exactly happened?" Seeing Teng Hui's appearance, the crowd was immediately shocked and hurriedly asked about Teng Hui's situation. Under the nervous gazes of the crowd, Teng Hui waved his hand and said, "Don't worry, I'm fine. I just suffered a backlash." Hearing Teng Hui's words, the crowd's expressions relaxed, and their hanging hearts were put at ease. Teng Hui comforted everyone. He did not stop talking and continued, "This letter is very mysterious, but one thing is certain. It was written by a saint." "What? Mo Qingyun knows a Saint Plane expert? This is going to be troublesome." I didn't expect that other than Ancestor Tenchu. There's another Saint Plane expert who is familiar with him. Branch Master, Mo Qingyun has great potential. We must not allow him to grow. Branch Master, since the letter was written by a saint, what do you plan to do with it? The crowd was nervous, and all of them were talking at once. Under everyone's gaze, Teng Hui looked at the letter in his hand. The corners of his mouth curled up slightly as he said, "We can't touch this letter easily. Let's return it to Mo Qingyun. I want to see who else is backing him." Teng Hui was very clear that if they touched the letter rashly, it would definitely be sensed by the saint who wrote it. If they angered the saint, they would lose more than they gained. After all, they were still not sure how the relationship between the saint and Mo Qingyun was. "Father, are you playing hard to get?" Hearing Teng Hui's words, Teng Zhang's eyes lit up as he guessed Teng Hui's thoughts. He said, "As long as we observe Mo Qingyun silently, we will be able to find out how strong the forces behind him are and find a better way to deal with him." Jiang, you're right. Seeing that Teng Jiang understood his meaning, Teng Hui nodded his head in satisfaction and threw the letter to the guard. He said, "You immediately pass this letter to Mo Qingyun. Don't divulge the current situation. Otherwise, don't blame me for being impolite." Yes, I'll go now." The guard took the letter and immediately left the courtyard. Not long after the guard left, Teng Hui looked at an elder and said, "Elder Teng Mu, immediately send someone to keep an eye on Mo Qingyun. Once he leaves the main branch, find a way to get rid of him." "Yes." Teng Mu nodded his head in response and left the courtyard to carry out Teng Hui's instructions. Next, Teng Hui and the others secretly planned how to get rid of Mo Qingyun as soon as possible. They were worried that if they dragged on for too long, Mo Qingyun would succeed in gaining a foothold, while Teng Xiao and the others were discussing. "Prince Qingyun, here's a letter for you." The guard handed the letter to Mo Qingyun, looking a little guilty. Obviously, he was still worried and afraid that he had secretly passed the letter to Teng Hui. After receiving the letter, Mo Qingyun's eyes flashed with a trace of surprise and joy. Soon after, Mo Qingyun looked impatient and waved his hand at the guard. He said, "All right, there's nothing for you to do here. You can leave now." After sending the guard away, Mo Qingyun immediately returned to the house and eagerly took out the letter. Just now, the moment he received the letter, he knew who it was from. That's right, the letter was sent by Qian Linglong. "I can't believe that after so long, there's finally news from Linglong." Looking at the letter in front of him, Mo Qingyun was excited and quickly opened the letter. Strangely, when Mo Qingyun opened the letter, he did not encounter any obstacles. Qian Linglong must have done something special when she sealed the letter. Chapter 1806. Linglong is in Huema City. After reading the letter, Mo Qingyun knew that Qian Linglong was waiting for him in Huema City. Knowing that Qian Linglong was waiting for him in Huema City, Mo Qingyun didn't want to waste any time and prepared to set off to find her. After putting away the letter, Mo Qingyun opened the door and walked out of the room. After leaving his room, Mo Qingyun went to find the Burning Sword Divine Craftsman and told him that he was leaving the main branch. In the Burning Sword Divine Craftsman's courtyard. "No, this is a critical period. You can't leave the main branch." The Burning Sword Divine Craftsman immediately objected to Mo Qingyun's idea. He didn't want Mo Qingyun to leave the main branch. In his opinion, the letter Mo Qingyun received from his friend could be a plot by the Teng family. The Burning Sword Divine Craftsman objected, but he didn't stop talking. "I think this is a trap. They're trying to trick you into leaving the main branch so that they can kill you secretly." The Burning Sword Divine Craftsman didn't know about Qian Linglong's existence, so it wasn't strange for him to have such thoughts. "Master, this is very important to me. I have no other choice." Mo Qingyun was resolute in the face of the Burning Sword Divine Craftsman's persuasion. He had to go. In Mo Qingyun's opinion, this matter didn't only concern Qian Linglong, but also the safety of Long Hanyin and Qian Linglong. Therefore, he had to go. There was no other choice. In that case, You have to be very careful. If you find something wrong, go back immediately. Seeing Mo Qingyun's attitude, the Burning Sword Divine Craftsman didn't try to persuade Mo Qingyun anymore. After spending so much time with Mo Qingyun, he had a thorough understanding of Mo Qingyun's personality. Once Mo Qingyun made up his mind, there was no turning back. It was useless to try to persuade him. Besides, he also believed that Mo Qingyun had the ability to deal with any potential danger. If Mo Qingyun didn't have this ability, he wouldn't have been able to escape Teng Zhao's pursuit all the way to the headquarters of the Heavenly Soul Devil race. After that, Mo Qingyun gave some instructions to the Burning Sword Divine Craftsman before he left the Heavenly Soul Demon race's headquarters. When Mo Qingyun left the main clan, a figure sneaked into Teng Hui's residence. This figure arrived at Teng Hui's residence and reported Mo Qingyun's whereabouts. He really left the main clan. After learning about Mo Qingyun's whereabouts, Teng Hui sneered proudly as if everything was under his control. Soon after, Teng Hui did not want to waste any more time, so he immediately ordered his men to chase after Mo Qingyun. Elder Teng Rue, bring some men to track that young fella down. If you have the chance, kill him. After receiving Teng Hui's order, Elder Teng Rue did not dare to delay any longer. He immediately led his men to hunt down Mo Qingyun. Mo Qingyun did not know about Teng Hui's arrangement. He was rushing to Huema City with all his heart. Huema City was a trading city of the Heavenly Soul Devil race. There are all kinds of businesses in it. Because of this, Huema City had a huge flow of people. It was the best place to hide. It seemed that Qianling Long was good at choosing a place. The headquarters was not close to Huema City. With Mo Qingyun's flying speed, it would take at least half a month to reach there. Fortunately, Mo Qingyun had the Shinzhou clan's flying boat. It could save a lot of time. After leaving the Heavenly Soul Devil race's headquarters, Mo Qingyun took out the flying boat and drove it away. Not long after Mo Qingyun drove the flying boat away, the news reached Teng Hui's ears. Teng Hui and the others were shocked. Mo Qingyun actually had the Shinzhou clan's flying boat at Teng Hui's residence. What? He has the Shinzhou clan's flying boat. Hearing the news that Mo Qingyun had the flying boat, Teng Hui could not help but open his eyes wide. He did not expect this to happen. He knew very well that Elder Teng Rue could not catch up with Mo Qingyun, who had the Shinzhou clan's flying boat. Branch Master, what should we do now? I did not expect Mo Qingyun to have such a treasure. An elder beside Teng Hui had a serious expression. He quickly asked Teng Hui about his plan. Hearing the questions of the people below, Teng Hui frowned and said, "We can't catch up with him. It seems that we can only contact the people from the other branches and ask them to deal with Mo Qingyun. Mo Qingyun is driving the flying boat. He will be very conspicuous. It will not be difficult to find him. We can make two preparations. We can ask the other branches to take action and pursue him at the same time. This is a good idea. Not only will we not delay the pursuit, but we can also confirm Mo Qingyun's whereabouts. I think we can also spread the news and ask the people from the other branches to take action together. In that case, it's decided. Let's split up and make arrangements." After some discussion, Teng Hui and the others came to a decision and knew how to deal with Mo Qingyun. As Teng Hui and the others began to pursue him, Mo Qingyun's journey was not smooth. He was ambushed from time to time. Fortunately, the flying boat was too fast, and the people blocking the way were soon shaken off. In this way, Mo Qingyun arrived at Huema City after 3 days of traveling. However, although Mo Qingyun had arrived at Huema City, his whereabouts were exposed. United Restaurant, Royal Grade Room 1. When Mo Qingyun arrived at Huema City, he recalled the contents of Qianling Long's letter and immediately headed to the United Restaurant. The United Heart Restaurant was very famous. Mo Qingyun only needed to ask a few simple questions before he found a restaurant. When he arrived at the United Restaurant, Mo Qingyun did not stop and went directly to the Royal Grade Room 1. After a while, Mo Qingyun arrived at the Royal Grade Room 1 and transmitted his voice to the room. Ling Long, I'm here. Creak. As soon as Mo Qingyun finished speaking, the door opened by itself. Seeing this, Mo Qingyun immediately walked in and saw Qian Ling Long, who looked pale. Ling Long, how are you? Looking at Qian Ling Long, whose aura was weak, Mo Qingyun was anxious and asked with concern. Initially, he thought that since Qian Ling Long had asked him to meet her here, her injuries would not be serious. However, the situation was completely different from what he had imagined. Qian Ling Long's injuries were extremely serious. Mo Qingyun sensed that Qian Ling Long's primordial spirit seemed to be dissipating. I was hit by the decaying soul tribe's heaven decaying life seal. My primordial spirit is dissipating bit by bit. After hearing Mo Qingyun's question, Qian Ling Long smiled sadly. She looked pitiful. The decaying soul tribe, the tribe ranked 3rd on the 10,000 Archean tribe board. After hearing Qian Ling Long's words, Mo Qingyun frowned and asked in confusion, "Are you saying that the people who dealt with the 1,000 illusions were not from the Dark Demon tribe, but the decaying soul tribe?" "No, the people who dealt with my tribe were from the Dark Demon tribe. However, the people who injured me were implanted with the decaying soul tribe's bloodline." After hearing Mo Qingyun's explanation, Qian Ling Long shook her head and explained to Mo Qingyun, "Qingyun, I'm sorry. It's not that I want to stop you and Han Yin, but there's nothing I can do." When Qian Ling Long said this, her gaze was complicated. She seemed apologetic, gentle, and reluctant. "No, I won't let anything happen to you. I will definitely save you." Before Qian Ling Long could finish speaking, Mo Qingyun had a solemn expression on his face as he assured her in a firm tone. Chapter 1807. Your primordial spirit is very weak right now. I'll refine a batch of pellets to stabilize your primordial spirit. Looking at Qian Ling Long in front of him, Mo Qingyun didn't want to waste any more time and prepared to control her injuries. Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Qian Ling Long nodded obediently like an ignorant young girl. "No, it's still not safe here. I'll take you to a place first." Mo Qingyun looked around, worried that Qian Ling Long would be in danger while he was refining the pellets. At this point, Mo Qingyun couldn't care less. He didn't want to hide the secret of the Fortune Mainland. Qian Ling Long didn't know about the Fortune Mainland. Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, she immediately became nervous and said, "Qingyun, I've set up a barrier around this room. It can isolate the Dark Devil tribe from tracking us. Once we leave here, they will immediately find me." Hearing Qian Ling Long's words, Mo Qingyun smiled faintly and said confidently, "Don't worry. The place I'll take you to, even if the Dark Devil tribe mobilizes all their forces, they won't be able to find you." "Oh, there's actually such a place." Qian Ling Long's eyes lit up. A strong curiosity appeared on her face. She wanted to know where Mo Qingyun was talking about. As far as she knew, there was no place that could be hidden to such an extent. Mo Qingyun didn't explain to Qian Ling Long's surprise and curiosity. He said solemnly, "I'll take you there now. There will be a suction force. Don't resist." Qian Ling Long nodded. Soon, a suction force appeared out of nowhere and acted on Qian Ling Long's body. Feeling the suction force, Qian Ling Long's beautiful eyes flickered, and she looked at Mo Qingyun in surprise. However, although Qian Ling Long was surprised, she didn't resist and allowed the suction force to take her away. The scene in front of her blurred, and Qian Ling Long arrived in front of a valley. "This is?" Seeing the scene in front of her, Qian Ling Long's eyes widened, and she exclaimed, "Could this be another mainland? You've already taken me away from the Wildlands mainland?" With Qian Ling Long's experience, it was not strange for her to realize this. "That's right, this is indeed another mainland. I named it the Fortune Mainland." In response to Qian Ling Long's question, Mo Qingyun did not hide anything. He nodded and introduced the place to her. Since he had brought Qian Ling Long to the Fortune Mainland, Mo Qingyun did not plan to hide anything from her. Of course, it was useless to hide anything from her. Although Qian Linglong had already guessed the situation, she was still astonished when she heard Mo Qingyun admit it himself. She said, "No wonder I couldn't sense Han Yin and Qin Yu. You must have brought them here." At this moment, Qian Linglong finally had a perfect answer to her doubts. At the same time, the worry in her heart was completely gone. Mo Qingyun had brought her away from the wild continent. How could the Dark Devil race find her? Han Yin and Qin Yu are here. I'll take you to them now. After chatting with Qian Linglong for a while, Mo Qingyun did not want to delay any longer. He was ready to bring Qian Linglong over. To Mo Qingyun's surprise, Qian Linglong shook her head and said, "No, I don't want to see them for the time being. Find me a quiet place and let me settle down for a while." Qian Linglong's words had some selfish motives. She was worried that if Mo Qingyun brought her to see Long Han Yin and Qin Yu, his concern for her would greatly decrease. Of course, Mo Qingyun could not see through Qian Linglong's thoughts. Okay, Mo Qingyun was silent for a moment, then agreed to Qian Linglong's request. He wanted to bring her there to settle down. Then, Mo Qingyun released his divine sense to observe the entire Fortune mainland. Mo Qingyun quickly scanned the place and found a suitable place. "Come with me." Mo Qingyun put his hand on Qian Linglong's shoulder and brought her to the other side of the Fortune mainland in a flash. "There's no spatial obstruction. How is this possible?" Qian Linglong was shocked when she found that Mo Qingyun's teleportation was completely unobstructed. In her opinion, even with her sage realm cultivation, if she teleported on the desolate mainland, she would not be able to do it without spatial obstruction. However, with Mo Qingyun's golden immortal realm cultivation, he could teleport on this mainland without any spatial obstruction. This was too abnormal. Even if this mainland's level was not as high as the desolate mainland, it was impossible. Although she was puzzled, Qian Linglong did not ask. She planned to ask Mo Qingyun later. Swoosh! Mo Qingyun and Qian Linglong's figures flashed and arrived in front of a quiet bamboo forest. The surrounding environment of the bamboo forest was excellent. As far as the eye could see, it was a boundless field of crops. It was exceptionally quiet and peaceful. Behind the bamboo forest, there was a small mountain. At the foot of the mountain, there was a cold pond with clear spring water flowing. What a beautiful place! Qian Linglong was delighted when she saw the scenery in front of her. She immediately fell in love with this place and sighed, "If I didn't have anything to worry about, I would rather stay here forever." When Qian Linglong said this, she could not help but look at Mo Qingyun. There was a complicated look in her eyes. Thinking about it, if she was willing to live here for the rest of her life, Mo Qingyun's company should be indispensable. As long as you want, you can always live here. Mo Qingyun did not think much about Qian Linglong's words and replied with a faint smile. Qian Linglong's eyes were filled with resentment when she heard Mo Qingyun's reply. She seemed to be dissatisfied with Mo Qingyun's reply. However, Qian Linglong did not show it. She stood quietly beside Mo Qingyun. Deal. Under Qian Linglong's gaze, Mo Qingyun formed a hand seal and started to build the house and change the environment. Under Mo Qingyun's help, a few bamboo houses were quickly built. The surrounding area was also cleared out. After doing all this, Mo Qingyun did not stop. He took out some materials to set up the array. This time, the array that Mo Qingyun set up was not of a particularly high grade. It was just a simple illusory array. After all, the people living in this area were all mortals with very low cultivation. The purpose of setting up the array was to prevent others from disturbing Qian Linglong and affecting her daily life. Therefore, it was sufficient to set up an illusory array to chase away others. There was no need to kill the mortals living around here. Looking at Mo Qingyun, Qian Linglong smiled sweetly. She looked sweet and cute. After a while, the array was set up and covered up Qian Linglong's residence. "All right, you can go and have a rest. I will refine the elixir for you now." Chapter 1808, Quasi-Sacred Elixir Cauldron. Seeing Mo Qingyun take out the 9 cranes returning cauldron, Qian Linglong's beautiful eyes moved slightly. She looked at Mo Qingyun in surprise. Quasi-sacred artifacts were more common, but elixir cauldrons were very rare. With Mo Qingyun's cultivation at the golden celestial of the great all-embracing heaven, it was very surprising that he could take out a quasi-sacred elixir cauldron. More importantly, Qian Linglong knew Mo Qingyun's background. He had no background at all. As such, it was even more unusual for Mo Qingyun to have such an elixir cauldron. It seems that his luck is indeed extraordinary. He has encountered opportunities that ordinary people can't compare to. Looking at Mo Qingyun, who was concentrating in front of her, Qian Linglong smiled faintly. Her interest in Mo Qingyun was even stronger. This young man with an ordinary background and low cultivation seemed to have a unique charm. When she was with him, she had an unprecedented sense of security. She didn't have to think about anything. Under Qian Linglong's gaze, Mo Qingyun arranged the elixir refining materials one by one in an orderly manner beside him. Soon, hundreds of elixir refining materials were neatly arranged around Mo Qingyun. Each of them emitted a strong spiritual energy. Rise! After preparing the elixir refining materials, Mo Qingyun shot a terrifying flame into the 9 cranes returning cauldron. After shooting a flame into the elixir cauldron, Mo Qingyun made a hand seal and pointed at some of the elixir refining materials. Soon, the elixir refining materials jumped into the elixir cauldron one after another like small fish. After the elixir refining materials entered the elixir cauldron, they were refined by the flame, and their impurities were removed bit by bit. Roar! Mo Qingyun controlled the 9 cranes returning cauldron and purified some of the elixir refining materials. His movements did not stop. He controlled the 9 cranes returning cauldron with his left hand and made another hand seal with his right hand. He pointed at some other elixir refining materials. Mo Qingyun's right hand was extremely fast. Like a dragonfly skimming the water, his right hand touched the elixir refining materials one by one. Soon, the elixir refining materials danced in the air like little birds playing around. As the elixir refining materials danced in the air, flames appeared on their bodies began to refine them. Such exquisite refining elixir refining techniques. I didn't expect his skills to be so good. Seeing Mo Qingyun's performance, Qian Linglong's eyes widened. She was very surprised by Mo Qingyun's performance. Qian Linglong's. Qian had heard of God's refining elixir refining. However, she didn't know that Mo Qingyun's attainments in alchemy had reached such a level. Next, refining elixir refining was refining refined refined refining 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 refined 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 elixir refining 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 refining. The more Qian Linglong watched Mo Qingyun refine the pellets, the more shocked she became. She on was it on it on Qian was on her was the 9 cranes returning cauldron emitted a strong pill fragrance. At the same time, a strange image appeared in the sky above the 9 cranes returning cauldron. He's done refining the elixir. Qian Linglong's face trembled when she saw the image in front of her. She had a thought. While Qian Linglong was still in shock, Mo Qingyun quickly formed a hand seal and absorbed the image of the elixir into the elixir. After doing all this, Mo Qingyun's movements didn't stop. He quickly formed another hand seal. Is he going to let the elixir go through the tribulation? Although Qian Linglong didn't know how to refine elixirs, she was a sage realm expert. When she saw Mo Qingyun's action, she immediately guessed Mo Qingyun's intention. She knew what Mo Qingyun was going to do. As expected, the hand seal flew out from Mo Qingyun's hand and rushed into the sky. Soon, thunderclouds gathered above Mo Qingyun and Qian Linglong. The sky instantly darkened. Qian Linglong became nervous when she saw the scene. She didn't know if the elixir could go through the tribulation successfully. Boom! Under Qian Linglong's gaze, a bolt of tribulation lightning struck the elixir. Instantly, the elixir was engulfed by the tribulation lightning. It emitted a dazzling silver light. After a while, the silver light faded and the elixir was revealed again. The elixir had gone through the tribulation successfully. However, before Qian Long could be surprised, she became nervous again. She saw Mo Qingyun forming another hand seal. It seemed like he wanted the elixir to go through the tribulation again. Then, a scene that made Qian Long break down appeared in front of her. She saw Mo Qingyun making the elixir go through the tribulation again and again. After making the elixir go through 7 tribulations, Mo Qingyun looked disappointed and stopped. He said, "What a pity. If it could go through the 9th tribulation, the elixir would be comparable to a sage elixir. Now, it's only comparable to a quasi-sage elixir." Qian Long was speechless. She felt extremely conflicted. After making the elixir go through 7 tribulations, Mo Qingyun was still not satisfied. How greedy was he? While Qian Long was still in shock, Mo Qingyun handed the elixir to Qian Long and asked her to take it to heal her injuries. "Ling Long, this is a 7th tribulation Shang Qing Jade Fairy Elixir. After you take it, it should be able to suppress the injuries on your primordial spirit temporarily." Qian Long took the elixir from Mo Qingyun and swallowed it without hesitation. After she took the Shang Qing Jade Fairy Elixir, a pure medicine spiritual force was emitted from the elixir. The medicine spiritual force started to nourish Qian Long's primordial spirit and slowed down the speed of its corrosion. After a while, Qian Long's complexion started to improve. It seemed that the elixir was working. However, although Qian Long's complexion improved, her aura was still very weak. After a while, Qian Long opened her eyes. She still had a worried look on her face. Although the Shang Qing Jade Fairy Elixir could temporarily slow down the worsening of her injuries, it was only temporary. If he wanted to completely heal her injuries, he would have to think of other ways. Looking at Qian Long's appearance, Mo Qingyun immediately understood. He sighed and said, "It seems that I have overestimated the healing effect of the Shang Qing Jade Fairy Elixir. Even a 7th tribulation Shang Qing Jade Fairy Elixir could not suppress the deterioration of your primordial spirit." Seeing Mo Qingyun's expression, Qian Long was touched. She smiled sweetly at Mo Qingyun and said, "Qingyun, don't worry too much. At least for now, the deterioration of my injuries has slowed down." Mo Qingyun nodded. With a solemn expression, he said, "Don't worry. I will think of another way to heal your primordial spirit. I believe in you. You can definitely do it." Qian Long did not question Mo Qingyun's words. She gave Mo Qingyun an encouraging look. After receiving Qian Long's encouragement, Mo Qingyun smiled in response. He said to Qian Long, "Refining the Shang Qing Jade Fairy Elixir consumed a lot of my mental strength. I need to rest and recover. I will protect you." Qian Long blinked her eyes playfully and acted as if she was going to protect Mo Qingyun. Chapter 1809. Several hours later, Mo Qingyun withdrew from his cultivation. His exhausted state of mind had been restored. After he stopped cultivating, Mo Qingyun summoned Tiger Soul, the God Shooter Bow, the 6-eared macaque, and the King Devourer. In Mo Qingyun's opinion, these fellows had been around for a long time. Perhaps they had some way to help Qian Long. What a powerful weapon. Before it was damaged, it might have been a Saint artifact or above. This is a mermaid. Qingyun actually has a mermaid by his side. This spirit is so terrifying. Its cultivation realm was probably above mine when it was alive. I didn't expect Qingyun to have so many secrets. Qian Long's eyes widened when she saw the 6-eared macaque and the others appear. Her pretty face was filled with shock. She didn't expect Mo Qingyun to have so many mysterious and powerful existences by his side. "The 4 of you, quickly help me think of a way to heal Ling Long's injuries." After summoning the 6-eared macaque and the others, Mo Qingyun didn't waste time with them. He immediately instructed the four of them. Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, the demonic flames on Tiger Soul's body surged, and it quickly flew to Qian Linglong. After inspecting Qian Linglong's injuries, Tiger Soul retreated a little. The demonic flames on its body turned colder as it said, "Brat, she's the true body of those two girls, right? Her primordial spirit's injuries aren't light. We can't afford any more delays. That's why I asked you to think of a way. Don't say such useless things. Quickly help me think of a way." Seeing Tiger Soul's actions, Mo Qingyun showed an impatient expression and hurriedly urged Tiger Soul. Not only is her injury serious, but it's also worsening. The situation isn't too optimistic. Tiger Soul analyzed Qian Linglong's situation briefly and said, "There are indeed many ways to heal her injuries. However, you can't do it with your strength." Mo Qingyun was speechless. He rolled his eyes at Tiger Soul and said, "Scram, I called you out to think of a way for me, not to discourage me." Hee hee. The God Shooter Bao chuckled and observed Qian Linglong's injuries. This girl's injuries aren't that serious. If she gets a peach from the Jade Lake Queen or an immortal pill refined by Grand Supreme Lao Jun, it should be able to cure her injuries. Hearing this, Mo Qingyun's eyes lit up, and he asked with an expectant expression, "Where are the Jade Lake Queen Mother and the Grand Supreme Elderly Lord? How can I find them?" This Godslayer immediately hesitated in the face of Mo Qingyun's question. They're all expert from Journey to the West. If you want to find them, you have to make a trip there. If looks could kill, the God Shooter Bao would have been killed more than 100 times by Mo Qingyun's gaze. This fellow's words were even more unreliable than Tiger Soul's. If Mo Qingyun could go to the Journey to the West, he would not have to go through so much trouble. If he had the ability to travel between planes, wouldn't he be able to give Tiger Soul's methods a try? Ignoring Tiger Soul and the God Shooter Bao, Mo Qingyun looked at Six-Eared Macaque, hoping that he would have some good suggestions. "Master, I don't have any good ideas." Six-Eared Macaque looked apologetic and took a few steps back. Six-Eared Macaque had no other ideas. The only person Mo Qingyun could rely on now was King Devourer. The sky-devouring mermaid queen frowned when she saw Mo Qingyun looking at her. She pondered and said, "If I'm not wrong, the ancestors of this decaying soul tribe should be the Sky-Een Corpse tribe from the Desolate Age. Their decaying soul technique is indeed terrifying." "You know about the decaying soul tribe? No wonder you're a merman from the Primordial Age." Hearing the sky-devouring mermaid queen's words, Qian Linglong was shocked. She was impressed. Mo Qingyun's eyes lit up when he heard Qian Linglong's words. He looked at King Devourer expectantly. Judging from King Devourer's words, he might have a way to heal Qian Linglong. No matter what, King Devourer's words were more reliable than Tiger Soul's. "Master, if you can find a Nirvana elixir of creation, it should be able to heal Miss Linglong's injuries." Under Mo Qingyun's gaze, King Devourer did not keep him in suspense and immediately told him his idea. Hearing King Devourer's words, Mo Qingyun looked surprised and excited. He said, "Do you know where I can find the Nirvana elixir of creation? About that, please forgive me for not knowing." In response to Mo Qingyun's question, King Devourer shook his head apologetically. He said, "The last I heard was that the Nirvana elixir of creation was refined from the Nine Heavens Glaze Sacred Elixir Hall. However, the Nine Heavens Glaze Sacred Elixir Hall had already been destroyed for tens of millions of years before I became a saint." Mo Qingyun frowned. He was disappointed with this result. He did not expect that just when he had a clue, it would be cut off and he would be at a loss again. "Qingyun, don't worry too much. I can still hold on for a while." Seeing Mo Qingyun's heavy expression, Qian Linglong comforted him. She then said, "At least for now, we already have some clues. Let's focus on finding the Nirvana elixir of creation. Yes, we can only take our time to find it." Hearing Qian Linglong's words, Mo Qingyun nodded and thought about it silently. While Mo Qingyun was pondering, the sky-devouring mermaid emperor pondered for a while and said, "Master, if I'm not wrong, The 9 heavens-colored glazed sacred elixir hall should be located in the current immortal desolate domain. Maybe we can go there and try. Immortal desolate world. Hearing King Devourer's words, Mo Qingyun's expression darkened. His eyes flashed with determination. Regardless of whether King Devourer's words were right or not, since there was a glimmer of hope, he could not give it up. Seeing Mo Qingyun's expression, Qian Linglong immediately guessed his thoughts. She quickly advised him, Qingyun, the immortal tribe and the divine tribe have been fighting for countless years. The hatred between the two sides is deeply rooted. If you go to the immortal desolate world, you'll be in danger. I don't want you to be in danger because of me. Don't worry, I have ways to protect myself. In response to Qian Linglong's concern, Mo Qingyun smiled faintly and said, don't forget that the place where I first started cultivating was in the immortal tribe's territory. Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Qian Linglong immediately smiled. The worry in her heart lessened. Mo Qingyun had cultivated in the immortal tribe's territory for so long without exposing his bloodline. This time, he would definitely be fine in the immortal desolate world. Chapter 1810. That's a good suggestion. Mo Qingyun nodded and agreed with the King Devourer's suggestion. He asked curiously, do you know the recipe for the Nirvana pill of 9 days of creation? Mo Qingyun believed that the King Devourer must have the recipe for the Nirvana pill of 9 days of creation since he had said that. Otherwise, it was impossible for him to know what materials were needed to refine the Nirvana pill of 9 days of creation. I don't have the recipe. The King Devourer shook his head under Mo Qingyun's gaze. He seemed slightly apologetic. Mo Qingyun could not help but be disappointed when he heard the King Devourer's reply. He was deeply confused and asked, since you don't have a recipe, how are we going to collect the materials? It's like this. The King Devourer did not hide anything from Mo Qingyun's question. He began to explain, back then, a genius of our clan was poisoned by the Tianyin corpse tribe. In order to save him, the clan leader collected the materials to refine the Nirvana pill of 9 days of creation. I remember the 9 main materials. So that's how it is. Mo Qingyun's doubts were immediately resolved when he heard the King Devourer's explanation. In that case, everything made sense. No wonder the King Devourer was able to treat the injuries to Qian Linglong's soul. Just as Mo Qingyun was enlightened, he became slightly confused again. He asked, however, we don't have the recipe for the Nirvana pill of 9 days of creation. Even if we collect the 9 main materials, it'll be useless. Master, there's something you don't know. Hearing Mo Qingyun's doubts, the sky-devouring mermaid queen immediately explained, the 9 main materials for refining the 9-day Nirvana pill of creation are extremely rare and precious. They're extremely difficult to obtain. If you want to refine the 9-day Nirvana pill of creation, you have to prepare early. Hearing King Devourer's words, Mo Qingyun nodded in agreement, thinking that what she said made sense. Under Mo Qingyun's gaze, King Devourer did not stop talking. He continued, in the process of collecting materials, we can also look for the formula of the Nirvana elixir of Nirvana of creation. This way, we can kill 2 birds with 1 stone and avoid wasting time looking for materials after finding the formula. Your analysis is very reasonable. Let's do as you say. After listening to King Devourer's analysis, Mo Qingyun nodded in agreement. With an expectant look, he asked, tell me quickly, what are the 9 main ingredients needed to refine the Nirvana elixir of creation? The 9 main ingredients are the blood of the 9 divine clans. Under Mo Qingyun's inquiry, King Devourer did not hide anything and explained the 9 ingredients one by one. He said, the blood of the 9 divine clans are the saint blood of creation, the blood of the azure dragon, the blood of the white tiger, the blood of the vermilion bird, the blood of the xuanwu, the blood of the phoenix, the blood of the qilin, the blood of the xieji, and the blood of the 3-legged golden crow. After hearing King Devourer's words, Mo Qingyun and Qian Linglong were both shocked. They were stunned by King Devourer's words. The ingredients needed to refine the nirvana elixir of creation were far too precious. After calming down from her shock, Qian Long said solemnly, "King Devourer, you may not know this, but the 9 divine clans that you mentioned can no longer be found on the wasteland continent. How can we find their blood? That is indeed a problem." Hearing Qian Long's words, King Devourer nodded. He felt that what Qian Long said was correct. As King Devourer and Qian Long were silent, Mo Qingyun thought for a moment and said, "If we can't find the original blood of the 9 divine clans, we can use the blood of their juniors. It's just that the medicinal efficacy of the pills refined will be a bit weaker." Mo Qingyun was proficient in alchemy, so this problem was not difficult for him. When he was refining pills, he would sometimes lack 1 or 2 ingredients and would use ingredients with similar medicinal properties to replace them. Hearing Mo Qingyun say this, Qian Long and the others quickly nodded. They felt that Mo Qingyun's method was worth a try. As long as it was the nirvana elixir of creation, even if its medicinal efficacy was a bit weaker, it would at least be able to suppress Qian Long's injuries. As long as Qian Long's injuries were suppressed, no one would have to worry. At that time, they could slowly think of a solution. What is the saint blood of creation? Mo Qingyun thought for a moment, but he still wasn't able to figure out the origin of this saint blood of creation. As soon as this doubt appeared, Mo Qingyun didn't think too much about it. He immediately asked King Devourer, "You mentioned the 8 types of saint beast blood. It's easy for us to understand, but what is this saint blood of creation?" The saint blood of creation is obtained from the blood essence of the number 1 clan on the continent, the Good Fortune Saint clan. Hearing Mo Qingyun's question, King Devourer immediately explained, "It's just that after so many years, I'm not too sure what sort of clan the Good Fortune Saint clan has evolved into." Good Fortune Saint clan? Hearing the sky-devouring mermaid sovereign's words, Qian Long frowned. She began to ponder. If I'm not wrong, the Good Fortune Saint clan that the sky-devouring mermaid sovereign mentioned might be the number 1 clan on the 10,000 ancient races, the Absolute Primordium God clan. Absolute beginning Good Fortune God clan. Hearing Qian Long's words, Mo Qingyun was stunned. His eyes flashed with an intense shock. Seeing Mo Qingyun's reaction, Qian Long revealed a puzzled expression. She curiously asked, "Qingyun, could it be that you know of the Absolute Beginning Good Fortune God clan? They have already disappeared from the wild continent for nearly 100 million years." Mo Qingyun didn't answer Qian Long's question. Instead, he stimulated the Absolute Beginning Good Fortune bloodline and said, "King Devourer, is the Good Fortune Saint clan bloodline you speak of the same bloodline as the one in my body?" Good Fortune Saint clan, it really is the Good Fortune Saint clan bloodline. Sensing the strength of Mo Qingyun's bloodline, King Devourer's eyes widened as he spoke these shocking words. After a moment of shock, the heaven-devouring mermaid queen furrowed her eyebrows once more. She said, "Master, your bloodline seems somewhat different from the bloodline of the Good Fortune Saint clan. It isn't as overbearing and powerful as the Good Fortune Saint blood, but it is far more mysterious." Qingyun's body really does have another type of bloodline strength. Sensing Mo Qingyun's bloodline strength, Qian Long's face trembled. She was particularly excited as she said, "One type of bloodline is comparable to the Absolute Beginning Good Fortune God clan's bloodline, and the other type of bloodline is the 4th-ranked Heavenly Soul Demon clan's bloodline. His cultivation talent is really..." At this moment, Qian Long couldn't find the right words to describe Mo Qingyun's cultivation talent. "It seems that my blood can replace the Good Fortune Saint blood." Seeing King Devourer's reaction, Mo Qingyun's lips curled up in a brilliant smile. It didn't matter whether or not his bloodline was the real Good Fortune Saint blood. As long as it was similar to the Good Fortune Saint blood and could replace it, that was enough. "It's the same. I just need to find 8 more types of blood." Seeing that he needed to find 1 less type of saint bloodline, Mo Qingyun revealed a brilliant smile. His mood immediately improved. It seemed that he had a good start. Chapter 1811. Since that's the case, let's not waste any more time. Let's get to work. Since they had a clear direction, Mo Qingyun instructed everyone to put away the King Devourer and the others. After putting the King Devourer and the others into his body, Mo Qingyun looked at Qianling Long and said, "You stay here to recuperate. I will think of a way to get the 9 days Nirvana creation pill. And I believe in you." Qianling Long was touched when she heard Mo Qingyun's words. She looked at Mo Qingyun affectionately. After that, Mo Qingyun left some instructions to Qianling Long and left the Fortune Mainland. After leaving the Fortune Mainland, Mo Qingyun walked out of the Royal Grade Room and prepared to leave the United Heart Restaurant. Have you heard? In the Flame Spirit Valley, there are ruins of the Phoenix Blood Heavenly Peng. It is said that someone obtained a drop of the Phoenix Blood Heavenly Peng's true blood in the ruins. I know that person. He is the Divine Flame Tribe's Hao Shangyong, the third genius of the Divine Flame Tribe. What third genius? Hao Shangyong refined the Phoenix Blood Heavenly Peng's true blood, and his bloodline has reached the ancient rank. That's right. Hao Shangyong is now a true genius in the Divine Flame Tribe. In an instant, everyone's words entered Mo Qingyun's ears. Hearing these people's words, Mo Qingyun stopped and walked to the side with interest. According to ancient records, the Phoenix had 2 sons, the Peacock and the Great Peng. The Phoenix Blood Heavenly Peng's body contained the Phoenix's bloodline, and it was much more noble than the Peacock and Great Peng's bloodline. If he could obtain the Phoenix Blood Heavenly Peng's true blood, it would be the most suitable to refine the 9 days Nirvana creation pill. After all, this kind of Phoenix blood was too rare. It was something that could only be found by chance. If he could obtain the Phoenix Blood Heavenly Peng's bloodline, it would be a good result. Imagine, the Divine Flame Tribe's genius Hao Shangyong refined a drop of the Phoenix Blood Heavenly Peng's true blood, and his bloodline had advanced to the ancient rank. It was obvious how powerful the Phoenix Blood Heavenly Peng's true blood was. Ancient bloodline, is this true? Are there still ancient bloodlines on the Wild Continent? If that's the case, then wouldn't Hao Shangyong's bloodline talent be #1 on the Wasteland Continent? No. It's said that a genius with an ancient bloodline appeared not long ago in the Heavenly Soul Devil race, Mo Qingyun. I heard that after Hao Shangyong's bloodline advanced, he saw Mo Qingyun as a thorn in his side. Of course, a mountain cannot contain 2 tigers. Who would be willing to share that unique honor with others? As Mo Qingyun listened, the crowd's conversation once again entered his ears. Hearing these people's conversation, Mo Qingyun couldn't help but smile bitterly, feeling a little depressed. Out of nowhere, he had another enemy. As the old saying goes, a tall tree attracts the wind. However, Mo Qingyun also did not pay attention to it. He did not take Hao Shangyong to heart. When the time came, he would block soldiers with arms and water with an earth weir. Next, Mo Qingyun listened for a while, but didn't obtain any more useful information. Seeing that there was no useful information, Mo Qingyun was unwilling to stay any longer. The Flame Soul Valley is not far from here. I can go and check it out. Mo Qingyun thought for a while and didn't want to delay any longer. He immediately set off for the Flame Soul Valley. In his opinion, since he had news of the Phoenix Blood Heavenly Peng, he couldn't give it up. If he could find the true blood of the Phoenix Blood Heavenly Peng, it would be equivalent to finding another alchemy ingredient, increasing his chances of refining the Nirvana elixir of creation. Then, Mo Qingyun left the same heart restaurant and set off for the Flame Soul Valley. As the cave-dwelling ruins had appeared in the Flame Soul Valley, it attracted a large number of people. There was an endless stream of people along the way. For the sake of not drawing the attention of others and avoiding unnecessary trouble, Mo Qingyun didn't set up a flying vessel to travel. From the conversation of everyone earlier, Mo Qingyun found out that there was no lack of experts at the 3rd level of the 9 Heavens' mysterious immortal realm amongst the people heading to the Flame Soul Valley. When facing such experts, Mo Qingyun didn't have the certainty to win, so it was better for him to keep a low profile. Besides that, Mo Qingyun encountered many people ambushing him on the way to Devil Convergent City. Mo Qingyun guessed that it was probably some sects of the heavenly soul devil race that had started to assassinate him. If he continued setting up a flying vessel, then he would surely expose his tracks and draw those fellows over. Mo Qingyun wasn't afraid of them, and he just didn't want their arrival to affect his search for the Phoenix blood, Heavenly Pang's true blood. The Flame Soul Valley wasn't far from Devil Convergent City, so even if Mo Qingyun didn't set up a flying vessel to travel, he only used 3 days of time. When he arrived outside the Flame Soul Valley, Mo Qingyun immediately felt a terrifying heat wave. What a shocking flame energy! As expected of the place where the Phoenix blood, Heavenly Pang lives. Standing outside the Flame Soul Valley, Mo Qingyun couldn't help but sigh in his heart, and the anticipation on his face became even more intense. In his opinion, the stronger the Phoenix blood Heavenly Pang was, the better the medicinal efficacy of the Phoenix blood Heavenly Pang's true blood would be. While Mo Qingyun was sizing up the Flame Soul Valley, many people rushed into the Flame Soul Valley in a hurry. Mo Qingyun didn't pay attention to these people's actions, and he carefully swept a glance at the interior of the valley. Under Mo Qingyun's gaze, he discovered that there were tall flaming trees growing in the Flame Soul Valley. There were balls of flames on the top of these trees, as if they were going to burn the trees to ashes. However, under Mo Qingyun's observation, he discovered that the stronger the flames on the tree, the larger its size and the stronger its aura. As far as the eye could see, there was a huge flaming tree growing in the center of the Flame Soul Valley. Based on Mo Qingyun's visual estimation, the diameter of this ancient tree was about tens of thousands of miles. As for the height of this ancient tree, it was so tall that it reached the clouds, and it was impossible to estimate its height with the naked eye. Mo Qingyun's gaze circled the ancient tree, and he saw a large hole in the ancient tree. Everyone who had come to the Flame Soul Valley flew towards the large hole and entered the tree hole one after another. If there were no surprises, this tree hole should be the cave abode of the Phoenix blood Heavenly Pang. With this discovery, Mo Qingyun didn't delay any longer, and he immediately flew towards the tree hole. As Mo Qingyun flew into the Flame Soul Valley, he discovered that the flames were constantly getting stronger, and they were eroding his body. Fortunately, his body was strong enough, and he wasn't afraid of the erosion of the flames. Mo Qingyun wasn't afraid of the flames, but that didn't mean that others weren't. Under Mo Qingyun's observation, he discovered that those who were below the Tai Xian immortal realm had all retreated under the burning of the flames. It seemed that one had to be at least at the Tai Xian immortal realm to enter the ancient tree hole. Chapter 1812. Because of Mo Qingyun's special performance, he attracted a lot of people's attention, and they looked at him with interest. After a few glances at Mo Qingyun, everyone's attention shifted back to the tree hole. Everyone came here for the Phoenix Blood Heavenly Rocks Cave. How could they waste too much time on a kid at the Firefly stage? After a while, Mo Qingyun and the others came to the entrance of the tree hole. Mo Qingyun stood at the entrance of the tree hole, and he found that the power of the flame inside the tree hole was several times stronger than outside. Under the impact of this flame energy, some of the weaker people were clearly having a hard time. They actually hollowed out the inside of the giant tree and made a cave like a world. This kind of method is really ingenious. Glancing at the inside of the tree hole, Mo Qingyun couldn't help but sigh. Mo Qingyun sighed, and his figure moved, and he flew into the tree hole. After entering the tree hole, Mo Qingyun's heart was shocked again, and he was amazed by the scene inside the tree hole. It turned out that there was another world inside the tree hole, and he couldn't feel it from the outside. Flying into the tree hole, Mo Qingyun looked around and found that there was no way down. In the inside of the tree hole, there was only one path leading to the sky, and there was no end in sight. After determining the direction, Mo Qingyun's figure flashed, and he flew to the top of the tree hole. Mo Qingyun didn't fly for long. and he saw that there were some small passages in the branches. At the end of these small passages, there were flame chambers, and he didn't know what they were used for. When Mo Qingyun was observing these flame chambers, some people showed a curious expression, and they flew toward the flame chambers. Mo Qingyun didn't follow them blindly, and he continued to fly to the top of the tree hole. His purpose here was to get the phoenix blood, heavenly rock's genuine blood, and he didn't want to cause trouble for such a small profit. Moreover, there were so many people who entered the tree hole, and such an obvious secret room of flames, it must have been emptied long ago. As Mo Qingyun continued to fly, there were fewer and fewer people around him, and he became stronger and stronger. As they continued to fly above the tree hole, the small passageways connecting the tree branches also appeared more and more frequently. However, without exception, there were many people in the paths of these tree branches. Mo Qingyun didn't stop as he looked at the path filled with people. He continued to fly toward the top of the tree hole. Sob! A sharp bird cry came from above Mo Qingyun. Hearing the chirping of birds, Mo Qingyun hurriedly looked up and saw a huge sea of flames. Many fiery figures were flying in and out of the enormous sea of flames. Phoenix blood, heavenly rock soul. Seeing the figures in the sea of flames, Mo Qingyun was startled. His eyes flashed with surprise. While Mo Qingyun was still surprised, he slowly flew forward and arrived at the back of the group. At this moment, the group in front of Mo Qingyun was also blocked by the sea of flames. Senior Tang Chun, I'm certain that the cave of the Phoenix Blood Heavenly Rock is behind the Sea of Flames. The power of the Sea of Flames is too strong. Even I can't force my way through. If we want to go deeper, we must break through the Sea of Flames. The Sea of Flames isn't scary. What's scary are those fiery birds. Every single one of them is close to the third level of the Nine Heavens' profound immortal realm. Although these fiery birds are powerful, as long as we lure them out one by one, we'll definitely be able to annihilate them. Looking at the sea of flames before them, the people in front of Mo Qingyun began to discuss how to break through it. Hearing the words of the people beside him, the old man by the name of Tang Chun frowned deeply. With a difficult expression, he said, "With the strength that we possess, it won't be difficult for us to take care of the flaming birds. The difficult part is luring them out." Hearing Tang Chen's words, a young man with a staircase mark between his brows turned to look at Mo Qingyun and the others and said, "Isn't that simple? Just capture them and use them as bait." Young Master Qi Ran, don't use me as bait. Young Master Qi Ran, please spare me. I don't want to die. Senior Tang Chun, please use another method. Under the gaze of the young man, some people's expressions changed drastically, and they hurriedly begged for mercy. It was obvious that young Master Qi Ran's identity was not simple. 8th on the 10,000 ancient races roll, the sky-reaching race. Mo Qingyun recognized young Master Qi Ran's origins when he saw him and said with a faint smile, "Someone who has awakened the sky-reaching ladder." It seems that Qi Ran is a member of the royal family of the sky-reaching race. The bloodline talent of the sky-reaching race was somewhat different from that of the heavenly soul demon race. It was not measured by the number of stars. Their talent was measured by whether or not they had awakened the sky-reaching ladder. Those who had awakened the sky-reaching ladder were considered members of the royal family. The more steps one had on the sky-reaching ladder, the more talented they were and the more amazing their future achievements would be. Under Mo Qingyun's observation, he discovered that there were 3 steps on the heavenly stairway. Qi Ran, who had 3 steps on the sky-reaching ladder, had talent equivalent to a 9-star junior of the heavenly soul demon race. Before Teng Zhao's bloodline had advanced, he had only been at the 9-star level. It was clear how amazing Qi Ran's talent was. The old man called Tang Chen's expression did not change in the face of everyone's pleas as he looked indifferently at the crowd. Evidently, he did not object to Qi Ran's suggestion. A Daluo golden immortal at the Firefly stage? As Tang Chen's gaze swept across the crowd, He saw Mo Qingyun at the back, and a trace of surprise flashed across his face. When he saw Tang Chun looking at him, Mo Qingyun's expression did not change, and he calmly confronted him. After carefully sizing up Mo Qingyun, Tang Chen's eyes narrowed slightly, and a cold smile appeared on his face. He said, "Young Master Qi Ran, that kid is only at the firefly stage. He has secretly followed everyone here and clearly wants to fish in troubled waters and reap some benefits for free. Why don't we use him as bait?" A Daluo, golden immortal at the firefly stage? Qi Ran's eyes lit up when he heard Tang Chen's words. He looked at Mo Qingyun with interest. A mere Daluo, golden immortal at the firefly stage. To be able to follow us here, this kid has some ability. When Qi Ran praised Mo Qingyun, his expression also darkened. He raised his hand and grabbed at Mo Qingyun. "Kid, it's your life's greatest honor to be able to become this prince's bait. Quickly thank this prince for recognizing you." Scram! Mo Qingyun's expression did not change in the face of Qi Ran's attack. He threw a punch at the incoming giant palm. Under Mo Qingyun's punch, Qi Ran's palm shadow was immediately shattered into pieces. Chapter 18:13. The surrounding area was silent. Everyone was shocked. They stared at Mo Qingyun dumbfoundedly, thinking that they had misheard. What did this kid just say? He said that he came here for the true blood of the Phoenix Blood, Heavenly Rock. Was he joking? At this moment, everyone's expression became strange as they looked at Mo Qingyun, not knowing what to say. "Ah, this is too funny. This is the funniest joke I've ever heard. Kid, you really made me laugh when you told a joke with such a serious face. Kid, you're number one in terms of acting tough, but your strength is lacking." Everyone had a look of disdain as they mocked Mo Qingyun, not taking Mo Qingyun's words seriously. Mo Qingyun didn't care about the crowd's attitude. He just looked at Si Ran indifferently. Seeing Mo Qingyun looking at him, Si Ran's face darkened as he sneered. "You do have some ability to be able to block my attack. You could be considered as the number one in the same realm. I'm not sure if I'm a number one in the same realm, but it should be enough to deal with you." Mo Qingyun did not hold back in the face of Si Ran's praise, not giving Si Ran any face at all. Si Ran raised his eyebrows, and his expression turned cold. A murderous aura was emitted from his body as he said, "Brat, do you believe that I will kill you immediately? I won't even give you the chance to be the bait. Cut the crap. Come at me if you want to fight." Mo Qingyun's attitude did not change as he retorted in a strong tone, "Don't blame me for not giving you a chance. If you dare to attack again, I'll let you experience the feeling of being bait." This kid's attitude is so tough. Does he have something to rely on? Tang Chun frowned as he looked at Mo Qingyun's overbearing attitude. He sized up Mo Qingyun curiously. In his opinion, Mo Qingyun's current behavior was indeed a little too abnormal. Under normal circumstances, a golden celestial of the great, all-embracing heaven would face the threat of a nine heavens mysterious celestial. Which one of them wasn't a yes man? They were so scared that they couldn't even stand properly. Mo Qingyun, on the other hand, not only was he not afraid at all, he even threatened to deal with Si Ran. This was simply too illogical. Noticing that something was wrong with Mo Qingyun, Tang Chen quickly pondered for a moment before walking over to Si Ran's side. "Little guy, we know that you're unhappy about using you as bait. This old man can guarantee that as long as you lure out a flying flame bird, we won't make things difficult for you. How about it? Old man, I'll give you a chance too. If you lure out a flaming bird, I'll let you go. How about that?" Seeing Tang Chen's malicious actions, Mo Qingyun unhappily retorted. He didn't have a good impression of Tang Chen either. Although this old man appeared to be a nice guy, he was actually a sanctimonious guy. Seeing Mo Qingyun's attitude, Si Ran's expression immediately turned cold. He said to Tang Chun beside him, "Senior Tang Chun, this brat doesn't know how to appreciate favors. There's no need for us to talk nonsense with him. Let me kill him first." "Fine. This brat is arrogant and condescending. It's time for him to suffer a little." Tang Chen nodded. Looking at Mo Qingyun, a cold glint flashed in his eyes. He no longer tried to stop Si Ran's actions. Seeing that Tang Chun no longer tried to stop him, Si Ran waved his hand and once again sent a palm strike toward Mo Qingyan. Nine Sun's golden crow palm. Si Ran waved his arm, and a burst of flame spiritual energy erupted from his palm. The flame spiritual energy erupted and immediately turned into 9 golden crow shadows, emitting a dazzling scarlet radiance. When the 9 golden crow shadows appeared, they bombarded Mo Qingyan from different directions. Lightning Dragon Sky Slash. Facing Si Ran's attack, Mo Qingyan did not hesitate and immediately took out the Divine Ability Dragonhorn. Once the Divine Ability Dragonhorn was taken out, it blossomed with a dazzling silver radiance and turned into 2 huge lightning dragons. Roar! The 2 lightning dragons roared a few times and intertwined with each other, forming 2 huge lightning wings. Once the 2 lightning wings were formed, they turned into afterimages and bombarded the 9 golden crow shadows. Puff! 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 Facing the bombardment of the lightning wings, the 9 golden crow shadows were instantly cut open and turned into balls of flame, spiritual energy. After the lightning wings cut open the golden crow shadows, the speed of its attack did not slow down and continued to bombard forward. Boom! Immediately after, the crowd saw the lightning wings crash into the sea of flames. Under the bombardment of the lightning wings, a large hole was cut open in the sea of flames, forming a vacuum. Seeing this scene, everyone widened their eyes and looked at Mo Qingyan with reverence. They were certain that if they were hit by the lightning wings, they would definitely die. Even if they could save their lives, their vitality would be greatly damaged, and they would have to find a place to cultivate and heal their injuries. This kid's strength is so strong. Seeing Mo Qingyan's performance, Tang Chen's old face trembled and a strong, lingering fear rose in his heart. He rejoiced that he did not anger Mo Qingyan again. Otherwise, if Mo Qingyan attacked him, he might not be able to suppress Mo Qingyan. He was not afraid of Mo Qingyan's strength, but the potential that Mo Qingyan displayed. Although he was only a golden immortal of the great all-embracing heaven, his strength was already on par with his. If they were in the same realm, it would be even more terrifying. If he was remembered by such a person, he would definitely not be able to eat or sleep in peace. What a terrifying power of lightning. Seeing the power of Mo Qingyan's attack, Sha Ran's face twitched and looked at Mo Qingyan with fear. You're a genius of the Thunder Punishment race. As soon as Su Ran's words fell, it caused a huge uproar, shocking everyone quite a bit. The Thunder Punishment race is ranked 6th on the 10,000 ancient races list. The Sky Reaching race is ranked 8th, 2 places lower than the Thunder Punishment race's ranking. However, even if he is a genius of the Thunder Punishment race, his strength shouldn't be so terrifying. No matter how strong he is not someone we can afford to offend. While everyone was talking, they retreated to the back, afraid that they would attract Mo Qingyan's hostility. Mo Qingyan did not pay attention to the actions of the crowd. His expression was indifferent as he looked at Si Ran. He smiled and said, "I am flattered by your praise. I am not some genius from the Thunder Punishment clan. Young master is too humble. With your shocking strength and talent, it wouldn't be strange even if you were a member of the absolute beginning divine race." In response to Mo Qingyan's mockery, a smile appeared on his face as he hurriedly flattered Mo Qingyan. After seeing the power of Mo Qingyan's attack, he had already made up his mind to not fight with Mo Qingyan. His purpose of coming here was to obtain the Phoenix Blood Heavenly Rock's true blood. There was no need to make an enemy like Mo Qingyan. Even if he defeated Mo Qingyan, he would definitely be seriously injured, and it would affect his chances of obtaining the Phoenix Blood Heavenly Rock's true blood. Chapter 1814. Not fighting back after suffering a loss was not Mo Qingyan's character. Since Si Ran attacked him, how could he not fight back? Mo Qingyun did not think that Siran stopped attacking him out of kindness. Siran did not attack him because he was afraid of his strength and did not want to take the risk to fight. If he could win, he would not show mercy. If he could not win, he would ask for peace. How could there be such an easy thing? Thunder Dragon's space, shattering wings. Mo Qingyun's figure moved. Two terrifying thunderbolts quickly gathered behind him. Soon, the two powerful thunderbolts turned into two huge thunderbolts' wings. With the support of the two thunderbolts' wings, Mo Qingyun's flying speed immediately rose to a new level. Mo Qingyun's figure flashed and arrived in front of Siran. Then, he blasted a palm at Siran. Demonic star splitting palm. When the palm blasted out, a black immortal spiritual power rapidly gathered in Mo Qingyun's palm. The black immortal spiritual power was like the dark clouds in the sky above the 9 serenities. It rolled violently and emitted a powerful demonic aura. Demonic aura. What a terrifying demonic aura. Sensing the demonic aura on Mo Qingyun's body, Siran's expression suddenly trembled. He was even more afraid of Mo Qingyun. Not to mention the power of Mo Qingyun's palm. Just the terrifying demonic aura alone was enough to make him shudder with fear. This terrifying demonic aura is definitely the power of his bloodline. This kid's bloodline is very powerful. Under the shroud of the demonic aura, Tang Chen's expression trembled. Fear flashed in his eyes. Immediately, he began to ponder and guess Mo Qingyun's identity. Boom, boom, boom. While Tang Chen was pondering, a huge black palm came crashing down from the sky above Siran. Looking at the huge palm that covered the sky, Siran was so scared that his body trembled. His face unconsciously turned pale. Judging from the momentum of this palm, it was not something he could easily withstand. He had to deal with it carefully. Heavenly Tower. Facing Mo Qingyun's attack, Siran did not dare to hesitate and immediately blocked Mo Qingyun's attack. A powerful flame, immortal spiritual force burst out from Feng Rant's body and quickly formed a giant flame tower. Dong dong dong. A giant flaming tower was formed, and a ladder appeared on top of it, as if it was going to connect to the heavens. Soon, the ladder on top of the flaming tower was hit by the black palm. Boom! Under the bombardment of the giant black palm, the ladder of the flaming tower was instantly smashed to pieces. After destroying the ladder of the flaming tower, the attack of the black palm did not stop. It continued to crush the flaming tower. Bang! The giant black palm slammed into the flaming tower and immediately exploded with a loud bang, producing a terrifying wave of spiritual energy. When this wave of spiritual energy appeared, it enveloped the flaming tower, making it impossible to see the situation inside. Crack, crack, crack. A series of criss-cracking sounds came from the waves of spiritual power. Hearing the sound of stones cracking, everyone's eyes widened, and their expressions tensed up all of a sudden. In the face of Mo Qingyun's powerful palm, would the flame tower be able to withstand it? Boom! After a series of cracking sounds, the flaming tower collapsed with a loud bang, as if a tall building had collapsed. As the flaming tower collapsed, an even more violent storm of spiritual energy erupted below the giant black palm. Puff! At this time, a wretched figure flew out and spat out a mouthful of blood. It was Chi-Ran. Seeing Chi-Ran's appearance, everyone's expression shook and immediately held their breaths. Chi-Ran, a second-stage 9 heavens profound immortal, did not have the slightest resistance against Mo Qingyun's attack. What terrifying battle prowess! Even Prince Si-Ran was defeated. Judging from the strength he displayed, even Senior Tang Chun may not be able to contend with him. It seems that he was not lying. His purpose here is really for the Phoenix Blood Heavenly Rock's true blood. Who is this guy? He's only a Firefly stage cultivator. How can his strength be so terrifying? The powerful divine ability he used just now seems to be a heavenly soul demon bloodline divine ability. Heavenly soul, demon bloodline? Could he be? After a short discussion, they guessed Mo Qingyun's identity and immediately widened their eyes. This person was Mo Qingyun, a genius of the heavenly soul demon bloodline who recently rose to prominence. So he's Mo Qingyun, a genius of the heavenly soul demon bloodline who possesses an ancient bloodline. His strength is indeed heaven-defying. After learning Mo Qingyun's identity, Tang Chen's old face trembled, and he immediately revered Mo Qingyun even more. At the same time, the doubts in his heart were finally answered. Apart from a genius like Mo Qingyun, who else could possess such heaven-defying combat strength? Ignoring the shock of others, Mo Qingyun's figure moved and continued to chase after Qi Ran. Mo Qingyun's figure flickered several times. He arrived in front of Qi Ran and blasted a palm at him. The current Qi Ran was in a state where he had not exhausted his strength and was unable to resist Mo Qingyun's palm at all. Without waiting for Qi Ran to react, Mo Qingyun's palm shadow blasted him, directly sending him into a daze. Asterisk crack. Asterisk after being blasted by Mo Qingyun's palm, the crisp sound of bones cracking came from Qi Ran's chest. When the sound of bones cracking came out, Qi Ran vomited blood again, and his face became even paler. Get over here. After attacking again and seriously injuring Qi Ran, Mo Qingyun raised his hand and grabbed, directly capturing Qi Ran. Under Mo Qingyun's grab, Qi Ran was like a dead dog and was grabbed by the throat. You let me go at once. Qi Ran was so frightened that he lost his soul after being captured by Mo Qingyun. He said in a panic, If you dare to touch me, you will be provoking a war between the heavenly soul demon race and the sky-reaching clan. This is not a consequence that you can bear. You think too highly of yourself. The sky-reaching clan will not go to war with the heavenly soul demon race over you. Mo Qingyun pursed his lips and shook his head disdainfully at Qi Ran. He said sarcastically, Moreover, so what if the sky-reaching clan goes to war with the heavenly soul demon race? Do you think my race is afraid of the sky-reaching clan? When he heard Mo Qingyun's arrogant words, Qi Ran immediately trembled in fear and his face turned ashen. This time, he had met a ruthless character who did not take his threats seriously at all. You still have to practice if you want to threaten me. Unfortunately, you won't have the chance. Mo Qingyun laughed softly and said sarcastically to Qi Ran again, I don't mind telling you that I have killed many members of the sacred Might clan's royal family. Killing a member of the sky-reaching clan's royal family like you won't make a difference. When he heard Mo Qingyun's words, Qi Ran's face turned even paler and the despair on his face deepened. If Mo Qingyun was telling the truth, he would not hesitate to kill him. When he saw the despair on Qi Ran's face, Mo Qingyun smiled faintly and said, Of course I won't kill you now. I still want to use you as bait. Chapter 1815. Seeing Mo Qingyun flying towards the Sea of Flames, the surrounding people immediately made way for Mo Qingyun to lure the flaming birds. Soon, Mo Qingyun arrived near the Sea of Flames and threw Qi Ran into the Sea of Flames. No. After being thrown out by Mo Qingyun, Qi Ran was so scared that his face twitched, and he quickly begged Mo Qingyun not to mention those terrifying flaming birds. Even the Sea of Flames could burn him to death. Mo Qingyun ignored Qi Ran's cry for help and indifferently watched him fly into the Sea of Flames. This kid has such a tenacious heart. Seeing Mo Qingyun's performance, Tang Chun, who was not far away, trembled and was even more in awe of Mo Qingyun. From Mo Qingyun's actions, he could conclude that Mo Qingyun was a ruthless person. A miserable cry came from the Sea of Flames. Qi Ran entered the Sea of Flames, and his body ignited with flames, burning his body. Looking at Qi Ran, who was screaming in pain, some people couldn't bear to watch and turned their heads away. Of course, there were also some people who looked carefree and felt that they had vented their grievances. If not for Mo Qingyun's help, They might have ended up like serene. Whoosh! As soon as serene entered the sea of flames, a flaming bird screeched and flew towards him. The flaming bird's figure flashed and turned into a flaming streamer, arriving in front of serene in the blink of an eye. Come back! Seeing the flaming bird appear, Mo Qingyun raised his hand and pulled serene out of the sea of flames. When serene was pulled out of the sea of flames, the flaming bird did not stop and also followed him out of the sea of flames. When serene retreated, Mo Qingyun rushed forward to meet the flaming bird. Saint Devil Star Shattering Fist. Arriving in front of the flaming bird, Mo Qingyun punched forward with terrifying immortal spiritual power gathered on his fist. The black immortal spiritual energy wrapped around his fist and extended towards Mo Qingyun's arm. Very quickly, it covered half of Mo Qingyun's body. At this moment, in the eyes of others, Mo Qingyun looked as if he had been fused with a demon god. A terrifying demonic aura erupted from his body. In the face of Mo Qingyun's punch, the flaming bird immediately cried out and flapped its wings rapidly. As the flaming bird flapped its wings, a terrifying flame energy gathered in front of it. Not long after, a huge fireball with a diameter of over 10 meters formed in front of the flaming bird. Bang! When Mo Qingyun's fist landed on the fireball, it immediately exploded with a loud bang, creating a powerful shockwave. Under the force of Mo Qingyun's punch, the huge fireball was immediately sent flying backwards, crashing into the flaming bird's body. Screech! After being hit by the giant fireball, the flaming bird immediately screamed and flew backward. As the flaming bird flew backward, cracks appeared on its body, as if it was cut from the inside. Soon, the flaming bird began to disintegrate, turning into a ball of flame, spiritual energy. What surprised Mo Qingyun was that when the flaming bird disintegrated, a drop of blood flew out from its body. When this drop of blood appeared, it emitted a terrifying temperature and a terrifying power. This is the true blood of the phoenix blood heavenly rock. Seeing that drop of blood, Mo Qingyun was shocked. He did not expect this to happen. He did not expect that the true blood of the phoenix blood heavenly rock that he was looking for was hidden in the flaming bird's body. While Mo Qingyun was in a daze, the true blood of the phoenix blood heavenly rock flashed and flew rapidly into the sea of flames. So these flaming birds are all formed from the true blood of the phoenix blood heavenly rock. Seeing that the true blood of the phoenix blood heavenly rock flashed and disappeared, Mo Qingyun did not feel disappointed. Instead, his eyes became burning hot. Since he knew that the flaming birds were formed from the true blood of the phoenix blood heavenly rock, everything that followed would be much easier. As long as he continued to hunt the flaming birds, he would be able to continuously obtain the true blood of the phoenix blood heavenly rock. So the true blood of the phoenix blood heavenly rock is actually these flaming birds. What a pity. A drop of the true blood of the phoenix blood heavenly rock flew away just like that. What can it do if it doesn't fly away? Can you still snatch it in front of Mo Qingyun? It looks like we can only watch stupidly as Mo Qingyun obtains the true blood of the phoenix blood heavenly rock. After discovering that the flaming birds were the true blood of the phoenix blood heavenly rock, everyone sighed with emotion. So these flaming birds are the true blood of the phoenix blood heavenly rock. Tang Chen's old face was gloomy. His eyes flickered as if he was thinking of something bad. Tang Chen pondered for a moment. Unable to restrain his greed, he attacked a first-level 9 heavens profound immortal with his palm. Senior Tang Chen. Seeing Tang Chen attack, that person was so frightened that his face trembled. His face turned pale. He didn't expect that Tang Chen would suddenly attack him with the intention of using him as bait. More importantly, with his strength of a first-level 9 heavens profound immortal, he wasn't a match for Tang Chen at all. He wasn't Mo Qingyun, who had a freakish strength. Bang! Under Tang Chen's palm, that person was immediately struck. His body bent like a prawn. Following that, The aura emitted by this person began to weaken rapidly. After crippling that person's cultivation with a single palm strike, Tang Chun didn't stop there. He immediately brought that person towards the sea of flames. Perhaps because he was afraid of Mo Qingyun's strength, Tang Chun flew towards the sea of flames, keeping a large distance from Mo Qingyun. As expected of a sanctimonious person, once benefits appear, he reveals his true nature. Seeing Tang Chen's actions, Mo Qingyun revealed a look of contempt and disdain. He glanced meaningfully at Tang Chun and said, "Old dog, I'll let you be proud for a while. I'll slowly deal with you later." Under Mo Qingyun's gaze, Tang Chun immediately felt a chill run down his back. He pulled the distance between him and Mo Qingyun even wider. Seeing that Mo Qingyun had retracted his gaze, the fear in his heart eased, and he could finally put his heart at ease. "Brother Zhongming, you actually sneak attacked me. Brother Wang Huan, in order to obtain the Phoenix Blood Heavenly Rock's true blood, I have no choice but to sacrifice you. See Dei, even if you use me as bait, you still won't be able to obtain the Phoenix Blood Heavenly Rock's true blood." When Tang Chun attacked, some people also tore off their disguises and attacked the people around them. For a moment, the selfishness, ruthlessness, and greed of people were completely revealed. Seeing such a situation, those with weaker cultivation bases immediately flew into the distance. They knew very well that with their strength, they wouldn't be able to obtain the Phoenix Blood Heavenly Rock's true blood even if they stayed. It was better to leave as soon as possible, lest they become someone else's bait and lose their lives in vain. Not long after, some people flew towards the sea of flames in groups of 3 to 5. Without exception, these people stayed far away from Mo Qingyun, afraid that they would accidentally anger Mo Qingyun. Chapter 1816. Mo Qingyun did not pay any attention to the crowd's actions. His gaze once again turned to the sea of flames. Mo Qingyun swept his gaze over the sea of flames. Then, he bent his hand into a claw and made a grabbing motion toward Serene, who was not far away. A black mist-like immortal spiritual energy transformed into a huge palm and caught Xiao Ran in its grasp. After capturing Serene, Mo Qingyun tossed him out of the sea of flames and continued to lure the flaming birds out. However, to Mo Qingyun's surprise, Serene did not attract any more flaming birds after entering the sea of flames. It was not only Mo Qingyun's situation. Tang Chun and the others beside him were also in the same situation. They did not attract any more flaming birds. Seeing this situation, everyone's eyes widened. They did not expect this unforeseen event. The flaming birds are so intelligent. After suffering a loss once, they actually did not take the bait again. What do we do now? We can't lure them out. We have no way of attacking them. Don't tell me we have to destroy this sea of flames? But that's too difficult. Seeing this sudden unforeseen event, everyone was at their wits' end. They did not know what to do. Seeing that they could no longer lure the flaming birds out, Mo Qingyun raised his hand and pulled Ran out of the sea of flames. This unforeseen event also surprised him. Since they could not lure the flaming birds out, they could only take the initiative to enter the sea of flames in order to kill them. "Mr. Mo, since you don't need me as bait, can you let me go?" Seeing that the flaming birds did not take the bait, Ran revealed a pleasantly surprised smile and hurriedly begged Mo Qingyun. Hearing Ran's question, Mo Qingyun frowned. He looked at Ran and laughed softly. "Since I don't need you as bait, what's the point of keeping you alive? You could die in peace." As soon as Mo Qingyun finished speaking, he waved his arm and slapped it down towards Ran's head. As Mo Qingyun waved his hand, a terrifying surge of immortal spiritual energy rapidly gathered in his palm. Soon, a huge black palm image smashed into Ran's head. Bang! Under Mo Qingyun's palm, Ran immediately widened her eyes and looked at Mo Qingyun in disbelief. He didn't expect Mo Qingyun to act so decisively, taking action as soon as he said he would, without the slightest bit of hesitation. Chi. Mo Qingyun's palm strike caused cracks to appear on Foam Rant's body. It looked as if it had been pierced by a sharp blade and sliced into many pieces. When his body was dismembered, Mo Qingyun sent another palm strike at him, sending him into the sea of flames. Once he was blasted out of the sea of fire, he would be engulfed by a ball of fire and would be burned away in the blink of an eye. Seeing Sea Rant's fate, the surrounding people's expressions immediately changed, and the distance between them and Mo Qingyun widened. This brat is ruthless. Chapter 1817. In my eyes, you're actually the same. Arriving in front of Tang Chun, Mo Qingyun took the initiative to attack and threw a punch at Tang Chun. With a wave of his right fist, black mist-like immortal spiritual energy quickly gathered and enveloped half of Mo Qingyun's body. Following that, a fist light the size of a small mountain shot out from Mo Qingyun's fist. Tang Chun did not dare to hesitate when he saw the mountain-sized fist approaching. He immediately took action to block it. Heaven-shaking fury spear. Tang Chun took out a flaming spear and stabbed it at the fist light with extreme speed. With a wave of Tang Chun's hand, the flaming spear immediately blossomed with dazzling scarlet light and condensed a powerful flame spiritual energy. The flame spiritual energy converged on the spear and turned into the shape of a fire qilin, which pounced at the fist light. Bang! The fist light slammed into the fire qilin and exploded with a loud bang. The attack was blocked by the fire qilin. After blocking the fist light's attack, the fire qilin couldn't advance any further and the two entered a stalemate. Oomph! Seeing Mo Qingyun's attack being blocked, Tang Chun revealed a smug smile and coldly said, "Kid, if this is all you've got, you won't be able to keep this old man here. Break for me." As soon as Tang Chun's words fell, he once again waved his flaming spear and forcefully slashed at the fist light. After being struck by Tang Chun's spear, the fist light was immediately blasted apart and turned into a ball of pure immortal spiritual energy. Crack, crack, crack. When the fist light was blasted apart, cracks also appeared on the surface of the fire qilin's body. In the blink of an eye, the fire qilin exploded and turned into a ball of pure immortal spiritual energy. In this short exchange, neither Mo Qingyun nor Tang Chun gained the upper hand and could be considered to be a draw. However, if one were to judge carefully, Mo Qingyun still had the upper hand. After all, Mo Qingyun only punched out once while Tang Chun slashed out twice with his spear. It was clear at a glance who had the upper hand. This geezer is at the third level of the Nine Heavens' mysterious immortal realm, and the immortal energy within his body is strong and abundant. It's extremely difficult to execute a divine ability to suppress him. After exchanging a few blows with Tang Chun, Mo Qingyun immediately gained a clear understanding of Tang Chun's situation. It seemed that it was impossible to use the same method to deal with Tang Chun. After comparing Tang Chun and Serene, Mo Qingyun quickly came up with a countermeasure. He smiled faintly and said, "Although your immortal spiritual energy is strong, your physical body is not necessarily strong as well. In that case, I will fight you head-on." When Mo Qingyun thought of this, he no longer hesitated and took the initiative to attack Tang Chun again. Demonic Star Splitting Palm. Chapter 1819. After killing Tang Chun, Mo Qingyun's figure flashed, and he returned to the front of the Sea of Flames. Seeing Mo Qingyun return to the front of the Sea of Flames, the people around him immediately retreated. They were afraid of angering Mo Qingyun. Mo Qingyun didn't pay attention to the reactions of the people around him. He looked at the sea of flames with an indifferent expression. Although this sea of flames is terrifying, I should be able to withstand it with the strength of my physical body. After looking at the sea of flames in front of him, Mo Qingyun thought to himself. He was hesitating whether he should enter the sea of flames. If I only use some of my strength to resist the corrosion of the sea of flames, I might not be able to deal with these flaming birds. If I use the domain gate, the situation should be better. However, I'll expose some of my trump cards. Mo Qingyun continued to think. He weighed the pros and cons of the situation and made a reasonable choice. Shortly after, Mo Qingyun made up his mind after a brief moment of contemplation. Nothing ventured, nothing gained. I'll go all out. Mo Qingyun gritted his teeth. His expression became determined, and he flew into the sea of flames. Seeing Mo Qingyun's action, the surrounding people were all shocked. They were stunned by Mo Qingyun's actions. Look, he's flying into the sea of flames. Is he going to barge into the sea of flames? Mad, this guy is a madman. How can he barge into the sea of flames? I can guarantee that he'll last 5 breaths time in the sea of flames at most. In my opinion, 3 breaths time is his limit. He won't even be able to escape. Although he's extraordinarily talented, he's still a little too arrogant. He's blindly confident in his own strength. After a short moment of surprise, everyone sneered. They felt that Mo Qingyun was courting death. Under everyone's gaze, Mo Qingyun entered the sea of flames. He was immediately enveloped by balls of flames. Domain gate. Seeing the flames coming towards him, Mo Qingyun didn't dare to hesitate at all. He immediately used his martial soul's ability. Soon, a bright door of light appeared in the sky above him. As soon as the door of light appeared, it emitted a mysterious power that enveloped the surrounding area. In the area covered by the domain gate, the power of the flames was significantly weakened, and the corrosive power was reduced by nearly half. The power of the flames was weakened by nearly half, and the damage to Mo Qingyun's body immediately became negligible. Although I've exposed some of my trump cards, from the looks of it, killing the flaming birds shouldn't be a problem. Mo Qingyun stood in the middle of the sea of flames with a faint smile on his face, as if nothing had happened. Those who didn't know what was going on would think that Mo Qingyun was in his own backyard and not in the dangerous sea of fire.